We're live. I know that there's like a delay or whatever, but I just want to let everybody know we were intentionally 3 minutes late. We were completely ready for the stream. We just wanted to show you guys who's in charge around here. You subscribe to us, not the other way around.
This is true because you guys have called me latener. You guys have made fun of me for being late. You've made fun of me for not being on time. I realize all of those are synonymous terms and equivalent to each other. But I just wanted to, for one time, be early. I was here probably around 10 minutes ago. Just to be early, just to sit here and relax. You know, I've been starting to wake up early in the morning. Just, get up early, take a walk around the block, around the neighborhood. This morning a woman scared me because I was walking out of my house. I was, all this like postpartum psychosis stuff is getting to my head. I'm afraid of all the women. So I was walking down the street and a woman walks out of her house, like right as I'm walking past her house. I'm up at 7:15, getting the sunshine and everything, getting awoken, ready to start the day, do some reading, write an article or something. And then she's walking behind me. And I'm like, oh, frick. So what do? I cross the street. I go to the other side, just trying to stay away from her. What does she do? She crosses the street. Like, oh, no, I keep walking. I'm walking as fast as I can. She has her dog. I can hear, like, the clinking of the dog tags. And I usually go right. And I'm like, I can't go right. I have to go straight. So I go straight, and I look behind me, and she's there. She's, like, following me. And I like spurg out. I cross the street again. Then I loop around. And then I go back to my original one. But anyways, I don't know why I was talking about this. But I've had a rough day. Yeah. I was driving to get my white Monster at the grocery store down the street. Woman tried to cross the road, just walk with the green light, Green light. She has no crosswalk sign. It's a busy intersection. And what does she do? She just crosses in front of everybody. A Native American woman. But she crosses in front of everybody. Truck almost hits her. And she doesn't flinch. She just, like, keeps slowly walking. She's probably, like, on heroin or something. And I'm sitting there like, what am I going to do? And then she walks into the parking lot of where I had to go. So rough day, boys. But how have you been doing, Noah? It's been a while.
Well, thank you so much for that recap. I'm glad that we got all that very important information in there. My day has been it's been okay. There are good parts and bad parts. I had to wake up and work my 9 to 5, which was pretty brutal to be.
So you're a boy slave. Interesting.
Yeah. But
rough.
I did have some good times. I read a little bit of Reginald Garrigou-Lagrange during my lunch break, which was pretty awesome. I had a really good double patty Wendy's burger while I was doing that.
On Friday?
I prayed my rosary. I prayed my rosary. Come on, Wagner. You know it's allowed. It's allowed.
What does St. Paul says? Everything is lawful for me, but not everything is profitable.
When there's a slip of the mind, you can pray your rosary and you're okay. Don't worry, guys. But I agree with what you're saying. But however, if you forget, you accidentally eat a Wendy's burger, you can be like, it's okay, I'll pray a rosary instead.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. If I ran over that woman crossing the street, I would be like, I just had a slip of the mind. I prayed the rosary.
Exactly. Very, very, very comparable. But aside from me possibly committing mortal sin in Wagner's eyes, no. That's not what he said. But no, and then after that, I did go to adoration, which was really nice. And then I joined this stream, and my camera quality is horrible again because my battery is dead. I kind of thought that it would charge because it's plugged into the wall, but I guess that has nothing to do with charging apparently. So I would say it's a pretty mediocre day. But
average day. But now we're here. It's Friday. We're here streaming again. So you've been very controversial recently online. I've had to go to bat for you, ratio everybody in existence on Twitter in defense of you because you stirred up some controversy with our friend Dyer and all of the ortho bros. It's actually kind of hilarious to watch, Jay, he had a little bit of a, dare we call it, a little bit of postpartum psychosis. He had a little bit of an episode. He went on, crashed out on the stream, went off, tweeted 6 million times about you, all the DMs, all that stuff. But we don't want to talk about all the drama, okay? As funny as that is.
We can mention it.
Okay, well, it was kind of funny. It was like, really Wagner's going to call in. Wagner's going to call in. That's like the male voice that Lindsay Clancy heard. That in his mind, that's me right there. He hears my voice in his mind. So when he's going to tweet and having a psychosis, that's what he's tweeting about. But the drama, that's all. That's all boring. That's meat for the goyim. You guys out there, you guys are. That's how we're drawing you in, so we can inform you of some things. Yeah. So that stuff we don't care
real quick. I think we do need a little bit of recap because I'm sure that there are plenty of people watching this who are like, what the heck is going on? Jay Dyer, he's this orthodox debater, and his whole shtick is kind of just like, I can say mean things and it's okay because sometimes the church fathers say mean things, and therefore I get to just be the absolute worst faith debater of all time. And I kind of knew that going into it. And so I called up on his stream, and call it slimy, call it what you want. I used an anonymous account. I'll be straight up about that. It was an anonymous account because I knew that if I got up there, it was going to be immediate, like random tangents going off, like wanting to debate peripatetic axiom. As soon as he figured out that there was somebody who had, some basis in Catholic theology. But anyways, I joined up and I was like, hey man, I want to talk to you about the filioque. He's open to it. We start talking about the filioque. And then you can kind of see, like, I use Latin. He crashed out really hard over Latin. He was like, that's so pretentious. You're not allowed to use Latin. And so I stopped using Latin for him. And then there was no debate. I'm not even going to say that I won the debate because I don't think there was a debate that was had. It was basically him just being like, I don't want to talk about the filioque. And you can speculate on the reasons that he doesn't want to talk about it. But then, like Wagner said, he tweeted 3 million times about, how I was using AI during the debate. Like, that was his, like, total takeaway. He was like, yeah, he was using ChatGPT during the debate.
Dude, I can't believe Dyer got wrecked by, like, a computer. An irrational being. Dyer destroyed by irrational being. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, but even, like, there's video proof of me not using AI during the debate. And I started off, I was like, hey, this is the book that I'm taking this argument from. Like, I don't really know where he got that from. And then he challenged me to a formal debate on the filioque. I was like, sure, let's do it. And then we started agreeing on the formal debate. And then he sent me a strange message. He says, I've decided that we can't have a formal debate on the internet anymore because Wagner might call in and pipe in on sell our audio. I'm still trying to figure out what that means in its entirety, but I'm pretty sure Jay believes that I would have an earpiece in during our debates, where Wagner would be feeding me beautiful scholastic answers.
I actually have like the Elon Musk like brainwave thing. I have one of those microchips in all of the brains of the Thomists, and I just like zap in knowledge while they're going about their day. So I wouldn't even need to use sell our audio or anything like that. I just zap the information in.
Yeah. And then Wagner, you made a very generous offer. I thought you would do a live fishing stream for us, which I was considering, having that like screen, like split screen, so I could watch the fishing stream.
You younger guys, you're all like brain rotted, so you need like the little like Subway Surfer play that'd be like the fishing stream in the corner while you're debating. Yeah. You just sit there and watch it.
Yeah. No, but then after that, I was like, hey, Jay, you know what? How about we do a debate online? You can have live recording of my entire setup the whole time. You can check my ears during the debate so that you know that Wagner's not piping in on Cellar Audio. And then he said, how about you join my live right now? Put up 2 to 4K. I was like, what? What do you mean put up 2 to 4K? And then he went on his stream. He starts talking about how he's not willing to debate for free anymore, and that he wants it to be an in-person debate. And then I'll be as charitable as I possibly can. He did say in one of his messages that he would actually have me be paid to like be flown out and stuff. But then I was like, yeah, I don't really. That's not why I debate. And then his conclusion is that I was somehow running away. And so that's kind of like a brief synopsis of everything that's going on. But I figured that we would have Wagner on so that we could actually talk about, some of the epistemological claims that were made by Dyer in our quote unquote debate that we had. Because Wagner's way smarter than I am, and he actually understands, the big words. And I just say Latin as a way to LARP, and I just read it off of either ChatGPT or Wagner piping in on Stellar Audio.
True. I do it the LARP too. Actually, I usually don't. I don't think that I ever, because what happened is when I was a young live streamer, back in the day, a few years ago when I started, I used to use a lot more Latin, but then people would make fun of my pronunciation, so I just stopped using it that much. But that's why I don't usually. It's purely a pride issue. I don't want to get made fun of for bad pronunciation. So, because you never know which pronunciation to use. Anyways, yeah, what the reason why I wanted to come on here, I wrote an article actually earlier today on my Substack, and this is a reminder to all of you brain rot Zoomers out there who don't read. You should start reading, especially my Substack. And you may be wondering, how can I do that much reading? I am stuck with short form content. I found Noah through TikTok or Instagram or wherever else, YouTube Shorts. I can't pay attention for more than 2 minutes. Well, Substack actually has a little thing where it'll just read it for you, like turns it into a podcast, and you can just listen to it. So if you can listen to me yapping here for 20 minutes, which I'm assuming you're going to do, then you can listen to me yapping through writing for 20 minutes. So you should go to Substack, subscribe, like the article, share it, because what I found to be really interesting about the original debate is the dodging that often occurs in a lot of these things, especially from Dyer, but other people do it as well. When a certain issue is brought up, what they'll do is they'll go and they will run to a different issue that they feel more comfortable talking about. It's pretty common. They try to distract you off of the topic that they feel less comfortable with, and they want to talk about something they feel more comfortable with. It makes a lot of sense why they would do it. So what Dyer will often do is he will jump from, let's say, the filioque to divine simplicity, or he'll jump to the essence energies distinction, or the manifestations, the theophanies in the Old Testament, or whatever else he feels super comfortable with. But one of these points that often gets practiced by a lot of these internet Orthodox apologists is a jump to epistemology. And epistemology that has to do with basically the theory of how knowledge works, like how we know things, how we can justify things, how we can argue for things. So basically the line of argument that they're going to follow is they say, well, Noah, you're a Thomist, right? Right, yeah. If you cannot justify your first principles upon which the entire edifice of your argument relies, if you can't justify these things, then therefore it stands to reason that you actually cannot do any sort of argument. No, unless you can go here and prove every single premise all the way back to, ad infinitum. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But if you go all the way back to the beginning, right, you're not actually able to argue with me. So you have to justify these first principles. And famously, when it comes to this science of epistemology or philosophy of knowledge or whatever else you want to call it, it's a very difficult area of study. A lot of people don't really get into it. It's very rare. A lot of people are interested in, things like ethics or maybe even something like metaphysics. But when it comes to epistemology, not a lot of people are really excited to actually study these sort of problems. They lead to a lot of questions, especially when one begins to study skepticism, that are very uncomfortable for people about the reliability of their own knowledge and about how they see the universe. So it's very uncommon, but there's kind of like two ways in which one could go about this. First, when it comes to Jay's claim, the central claim, which is if you don't justify, your epistemology, if you don't justify What he means by that is your first principles. If you don't justify these first principles, then we can have no debate. That's sort of the idea that he posed, to my understanding. No, am I right here?
Yeah, no. The way that it kind of came about is he asked me. I obviously made the argument from Lagrange, that they believe in like a form of semi-Arianism by denying that the Son partakes in the procession of the Spirit. And then he goes, well, how come the Son doesn't beget more sons? And Wagner, you and me actually talked about this, not with you piping in on Cellar Audio, but just in a private chat. And I was like, well, that's where the distinction between, the proximate principle by which and the remote principle by which comes in. And he says, I don't believe in that. And I was like, what do you mean you don't believe in that? He's like, that's Thomism, and therefore I don't have to accept it. And then I was like, what are you talking about? And then he said, well, I don't accept your epistemology. So how about you prove all of Thomism and all of Catholicism first, and then we can talk about the debate topic. And like you said, that's obviously a dodge. But yeah, that's kind of how it came about.
Yeah. So the first difficulty with this, and because there's obviously two ways in which you could go about this. One, you could just deny the form of the argument. Like you just deny the fact that he can even have this sort of dodge of the whole thing. Because in reality, and this is sort of a principle that is followed by everybody, right? All human sciences, all human studies, the church fathers, when they're describing how we do apologetics and how we debate with other people, basically, if you have commonly agreed upon principles, or if you have, some sort of principle that your opponent accepts, you can actually argue from that principle. St. Thomas, he talks about this in the beginning of Summa Contra Gentiles in a pretty famous line where he says, well, if you're talking with Jews, you can argue from the Old Testament. If you're talking with heretics, you can argue from the Old and the New Testament to show that they're actually incoherent with their own principles. So like something like the proximate and remote principle by which, those who don't know, the remote principle by which is nature, the proximate principle by which is the faculties that we use. Like this is, everybody obviously accepts this in sort of like the classical psychological model. We have human nature, and we also have faculties through which we operate. So that would obviously be a stupid dodge. I wouldn't have to go back to first principles to justify this, because this is something that you already accept. So if I can actually latch on to something you already accept, I can do what's called an internal critique. I can critique your system from the inside out on the basis of something that you already accept. Because any good debate, any good dispute between people, we're going to have shared principles from which the debate even proceeds. Because if, let's say, I'm arguing with a Mormon, and the Mormon goes and starts quoting the Book of Mormon to prove his religion against me, I can just say, well, I don't accept the Book of Mormon. And then there's not really anything that we can actually dispute over, no common ground. But if I'm talking with a Jew and I say, hey, Jew, you accept the Old Testament, they're like, yeah. I accept the Old Testament. You go and they agree with the Old Testament, right? And I argue, well, Christ is Lord. It shows here, here, and here. Christ is obviously the Messiah. Here are all of these reasons from the Old Testament why your religion is incoherent. You need a temple, you need sacrifice, you need all of these things. If I can actually do that from his books, I can give an internal critique of his religion. So with a lot of these Orthodox that you'll get into discussions with, or you'll see, your favorite e-celebrities debating, right? When you look at all of these and they go straight for, well, you need to justify your principles, that's not really necessary at all for actually to have a debate, because just as they offer internal critiques to Catholicism that we're self-refuting, self-contradictory, whatever, that's actually exactly what we're doing when we have these discussions with Orthodox. That's kind of the first method. Does everything track so far? Do I need to explain anything in more detail?
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. And that's exactly what I tried to propose to Jay in the debate. He was, I was like, hey, man, it's cool that you don't, accept maybe that line of reasoning. How about we forget that I said I was a Thomist, and instead we can just work from your worldview, and I'll show that what you believe is actually in contradiction to the other things that you believe. And he says, no, I don't want to do that. You have to prove Thomism. I was like, since when is that how anything works? And I also pointed out to him, when we were discussing, our differences in our conception of the Trinity, and his objection that why doesn't the Son beget more sons? I said, Jay, you affirm that the Son doesn't beget more sons. Like, this is something you believe. And he says, well, it doesn't matter if I agree with you. You still have to prove it. And it's like, well, we obviously believe in the conclusion, so you can trust in the means that we both use to get there. And yeah, no, it's really, like you said, it seems like a complete way to dodge the actual question that was being proposed.
Yeah, and I think that what's important, one point kind of before I move on into a little bit more about this, but what's really important is a lot of these online debates. This is a point that I made in a clip that went, I guess, a little bit viral like a year ago, I think, is for a lot of these Orthodox apologists, and Catholics do the same, Protestants do the same. It's kind of a thing that a vice that a lot of apologists fall into, is their whole idea of what we should do in apologetics is if I can somehow, through a sort of hyper skepticism and lack of intellectual clarity and consistency and charity towards your position, if I can show that, if I can sow some doubt, I guess might be the best way, into the hearers of your position, then that almost de facto proves my own position. So if I can refute you, then I win. So if Catholicism is wrong, Orthodoxy is right. If Protestantism is wrong, Catholicism is right. If Muslims do this all the time, but if Christianity is wrong, then Islam is right. Like, just because you have criticized my own position in many ways, in ways that are very inconsistent with how you consider your own principles and your own arguments, like a very inconsistent argumentative methodology, then I can somehow go and actually prove my own position from refuting your position. And that sort of, it plays very well into the pluralism that we actually experience, in our society, in a society in which we live. A lot of people they're very pluralistic, and because they're pluralistic, they have an openness to a lot of different positions. Because of that fact, they often are quite indifferentist and very skeptical. So if you are able to just sow doubt into their minds about something, and they're not actually able to come and understand just in a very rigorous and systematic and conclusive way why this objection is a bad objection, then they will just deny the position. This happens all the time with Catholic converts out there. As you'll see, Catholic converts, they want somebody to go in and to exhaustively prove from like the Octa of the Council of Florence that Cantate Domino, it doesn't actually reject Vatican II's positions. And you have to go to the Octa of Vatican II, and you have to exhaustively prove, and you have to basically write a PhD dissertation for them, going through all of these issues. And if they can't actually have this objection resolved fully in their minds in a way that they can understand, then they're not actually going to accept Catholicism. And I think that this is it's a very dangerous trend when it comes to online apologetics. And I think it actually leads to a very sophistic tendency among a lot of the apologists who recognize this. And it leads to a restlessness amongst a lot of the listeners. They go from, e-apologist to e-apologist to e-apologist, video to video, tweet to tweet, article to article. And they're kind of restlessly searching through a lot of these different, people who they believe are able to give them certainty and to give them the solution to their doubts. What they don't sort of realize is that actually the principle that they have about how they should approach religion, that is what is wrong. That's like the primary issue that they're running into is they're not really approaching religion correctly in the first place. And the sort of idea that you're going to be able to, that you are smart enough and you have enough time and you have enough resources to actually go through everything and sort of figure everything out in order to make a decision about, how to best glorify God, how best to love him, how to become a saint, and how to reach heaven. It's a stupid idea. It's a very dumb idea. And it's very destructive, and it will ruin your soul, and it will send you to hell long term. Like this is something which it throws acid on the very foundations of your ability to love God. If you think about if you think in this way, so I think it's very evil. A lot of the ways in which this these sort of online apologetics endeavors actually work.
Yeah, no, I think a great example of that was the Brother Diamond debate. I forget who it was with. It was some SSPX dude before the excommunication.
Yeah.
But basically, Brother Diamond, he just goes through and he says a bunch of like wacky stuff that Pope Francis said. And
Hmm.
then you see all the comments like, again, I think the SSPX guy could have done way better. Don't get me wrong. But basically, Brother Diamond just throws a bunch of like doubt, like, oh, is this guy really the Pope? Because he said some pretty crazy things this one time. And then all the comments are like, Pope Francis has to be an anti-Pope. Pope
Yeah.
Francis, I'm converting to Sedevacantism. And it's like, no, that's not how you should approach anything ever. So I think that's a really good point. Also, speaking of the exact same topic, are we ever going to see the Brother Diamond debate?
The Brother Diamond debate? A debate with Brother Diamond, that would be interesting. I don't know on what issue we would actually debate about, but I don't debate in general, but I'm not like I don't exclude, I guess, debating anybody. Like I would debate Jay Dyer if I felt that it would be fruitful and that it would fulfill and be necessary for or beneficial to like what I see as sort of my mission in life and the way in which I can best serve the church. Like if I thought that there was an avenue for that that would be beneficial towards doing this, like yeah. The reason why, and this is my initial interactions with Jay were kind of funny because he wanted to debate a whole bunch of different issues. And I told him like, look, dude, just make a video about it. If you're so confident in the arguments that you have, make a video about it, give your arguments. And if I think that it's important enough for me to respond, then I'll respond to the arguments. Because I think what's a lot more fruitful is, and I get that a lot of people, they kind of like to watch it's sort of an entertainment for them to watch, their favorite guys sort of discussing in real life and in real time. But I think what's actually ends up being a lot more fruitful is the ability to sit and to think and to study and to research and to refine a lot of the arguments you have to be able to best present them, which is why in classical debate, and this is something that would never happen in the sort of online blood sports environment, in classical debate, you would write your opening statement, which would give all of your different arguments that you have for the topic. And then you would give your opening statement to your opponent written beforehand of all the arguments that you're going to give so that each person is able to have a thorough rebuttal. And basically what the middle portion of the debate, the cross-examinations and the discussions are supposed to be about is I've given my arguments, you've given your arguments, we've refuted each other's arguments to the best of our abilities. Now we're going to talk about it. And what that actually sort of reveals is this reveals actually a very sort of profound understanding of the seriousness of debating. Is when we are debating another view, when we're debating another person, we're not trying to, do this sort of rhetorical, sophistic tactic where we're trying to catch the other person by surprise. That we're going to give them something they never thought about, and they're going to have to sort of think on the fly and try to come up with a response. And it's and I get that that's sort of the way in which, the genre's turned into, and that's maybe one of the necessary evils of the genre is obviously, we need Catholics in debating circles. We need Catholics in online debates. Like we can't just, recede from the world just because there's sort of sin in the world and there's error in the world. But I do think that just sort of it's a fundamentally broken idea of the way in which this sort of presupposes how we should actually treat religion, how we should actually, treat the ideas that we hold on to, how we should treat the ideas that other people hold on to. That's why I just kind of don't like it unless I see it to be extremely beneficial or even necessary to actually carry out what I want to carry out, in my own understanding of how I fit into, the Catholic Church and how I can best help the Catholic Church in her mission.
Yeah. I think I'm pretty much in full agreement with all of that, but I do choose to do debates. And I obviously use a lot of, rhetorical the tools to help propel my arguments in a certain way. But something I've been doing lately is I really only take debates now where I believe that there's a real opportunity to show absolute absurdity in the other position. Because I think that's the only way that you're actually really going to change people's minds. Like, especially with like the ortho bros. like a lot of the Dyerites are just in a complete cult. Like Dyer could literally like murder someone in like broad daylight, and some of them would be like, "Well, it was just self defense." So it's
That's
like,
aura.
yeah,
That's aura.
that's so
That is
basic.
aura. He has aura for that.
And it's like, yeah, like I mean, I get it. Dyer's a really smart dude. I think he's had some great debates. He's proved a lot of great things. But like, I did the Parker debate recently on atheism. Does God exist? And he ends up just like denying the principle of sufficient reason, and then he says, "Well, I don't have to provide an argument as to why I deny the principle of sufficient reason. I just don't accept it." And then it's like, that's absurd. And I think that like there were comments, people saying like, "Wow, I don't think I can be atheist anymore because it's literally the stupidest thing I've ever heard." I'm like, yeah, that's what Paul says. So I think debates can be good, but I also totally respect the decision to just not do debates.
Yeah, and like I said, we can't have Catholics completely remove themselves from public life just because of there's retreatism due to the errors in the system. Like I see this a lot of times in politics. You'll get people who want to go and they want to start new political parties, or they want to, go and try to work outside of the system. And almost always these are failures. You're not going to get a third party in the United States based on Catholic principles. Like that's just not going to happen. You kind of have to work within the system and do the best that you can do and try to sanctify, the temporal sphere in that way. And just, keep to the principles of, Catholic social teaching and, Catholic moral principles as you're going about this. But anyways, that was a little bit of a tangent kind of on debating as such. I kind of want to get into the first principle question again, because I wrote the long Yap article about that, which all of you guys, again, this is your homework for the weekend. Okay, I'm refusing to live stream ever again. We have a pact never to live stream again until all of you guys read this article that I wrote. But anyways, basically, when it comes to the idea of like a first principle and the kind of silliness of asking Noah or anybody else to prove the first principle. And you can read this actually, funnily enough, in the Church Fathers. The Church Fathers, they were existing in a society in which there was a lot of skepticism. A lot of people don't think about that. Is the problems that we have now in modern philosophy, these were old errors. Like there were ancients who held to these weird errors about skepticism or about any other number of modern errors that you can think about, materialism. There were ancients who held these positions. So since the Church Fathers were very concerned to evangelize everybody, they were very concerned to refute all of the errors against the faith. When you look into the fathers of the church, they actually do comment on these questions of philosophy. And when you look at the medieval scholastics, and when you look at the post-medieval scholastic tradition up to the modern day, which Leo XIII, he calls it the perennial philosophy. When you look at this sort of chain that goes all the way back into Christian antiquity, what you see is there is continuity. And even on this question, there is a lot of continuity. What they say is relatively simple, right? A first principle, the principle which sort of bases your entire system, the principle which is the foundation for everything, this isn't something you can demonstrate. And the reason for this is pretty simple, because if you could demonstrate something, you demonstrate a conclusion through principles. So if you had to demonstrate the first principle through other principles, it wouldn't be the first principle. This is like sort of obvious. It sounds obvious when you hear it, although it's kind of weird. A lot of people will deny this. But yes, the Church Fathers talk about this. You can read, for example, an excellent treatment from St. Clement of Alexandria on his Stromata. I think it's book 8. I quote one of the sections in the beginning of my article that I posted earlier. But yes, the Church Fathers, they talk about this. The first principle is you cannot demonstrate them. The first principle, according to the scholastic tradition following Aristotle, he talks about this in book 4 of his Metaphysics. The first principle is that something cannot be and not be at the same time and in the same respect. Law of non-contradiction, that's pretty obvious. Even the person who comes to you and who goes and tries to deny this principle, they try to deny the law of non-contradiction by denying this, they are admitting in that very act that it is not the same thing to deny the principle as it is to accept it, because they don't accept it. And Aristotle, he sort of brings up a funny situation. He's like, well, what if somebody, refuses to say anything? They're like, oh, crap, if I say anything, I'm admitting this law of non-contradiction, because by saying something, you're admitting that it's different than you not saying something. And by affirming something, you're saying that it's different than it is to deny something. So he says, well, this person, he's worse than a vegetable. He's like worse than a plant. So there's no reason to even talk to these people, because if they try to talk to you and ask for a reason for this, by asking for a reason, they are admitting that it's different to ask for a reason than not to ask for a reason, and that there's a sort of objectivity to reason. So they say that, well, you can't really demonstrate this sort of first principle. What you can do is you can actually show from the other person, from what they already accept, that they already, you can reduce them to absurdity, that they'll have to contradict themselves, that they are already admitting really what you're saying. Even while they're externally denying it, they're internally accepting this, as a valid principle. And I think it's, who was it? One of the Arabian philosophers. I can't remember which one it was, but he has a funny comment on this. He says that, well, if somebody denies the law of non-contradiction, what you have to do is you have to take them and you have to beat them and burn them until they admit that it is different to be beaten and burned than to be not beaten and to be not burned. He says that, what we're kind of inducing somebody through these sort of defenses of the first principle. What we're doing is we're actually inducing somebody to reflect on their own knowledge. And this sort of brings up the next important point about epistemology, is that the evidence for this principle, just because we say that it's indemonstrable, we're not saying that it doesn't have any evidence. We're not saying that it doesn't have any defense. We just saw that you can defend it through what somebody else already admits. So even while we cannot demonstrate this strictly, we can defend it, and there is also evidence for it. But this evidence is not through demonstration, that is through science, properly so called. The evidence is direct. In the very apprehension that we have of being, right? We apprehend being, which originates in the senses. When we apprehend being and our intellect sort of combines with intentional being, and it knows something, in this very apprehension that we have evidence that this apprehension we have is different from not apprehending what we do not have, or the opposite of it, of denying what we are apprehending. So the very act of intellection as such provides the necessary and internal proof for what we were talking about. So even if, we admitted, let's say, with the skeptics and said, hey, all of our senses, they're bunk. Our senses, they're actually not reliable. Our sense data is not reliable. I can hold up this white Monster can and look at it, and my eyes telling me that this is white. It's actually not reliable. Even if all of our senses were unreliable, we reduce this to the principle that our intellect, in the very understanding of being, that's actually what's providing the evidence for it. It's not our sense data that's providing the evidence for it. So really what we're doing when we're actually disputing with somebody and we're pressing them and we're forcing them into recognition that they hold to this principle already, we're forcing them just to reflect on their own process of intellection, and for them to understand, oh, I already have the evidence in my very thinking. My very thinking is already providing the evidence for me. So what you should do is you should reflect on that. And when you reflect on that, eventually you are led, some Thomists say you're led as like by the hand. We're taking this person by the hand, we're leading them to something, we're pointing it at them, and we're saying, look, just look at this. That's a form of evidence. If I take you, actually, I can do it right now, If I show you this white Monster can and I'm saying, look at it right now, open your eyes, take a gaze at it, I'm leading you into evidence for something. I'm leading you to just gaze at it. That's not me strictly demonstrating the existence of that thing, but I am providing evidence for it. So in a similar way, when we are, providing these sort of indirect arguments, explanatory arguments, whatever else you want to call it, whatever, species of argumentation you want to bring this in for, you're not demonstrating this for the person, because that would assume that there is a principle that's even more prior to the first principle. But what you are doing is you're providing evidence for them. and you're just pointing them to that evidence that already exists within them. So that's like if I had to sort of summarize the whole Thomistic teaching on epistemology in like sort of a brief kind of 20-minute explanation, that's what it would be. And I think it's very important when you do get into these discussions with people who want to use the epistemological problem as a sort of destroyer for you. You know, sure, you could go through and explain all of the Thomistic epistemology. I think it's kind of obvious for most people. Most people, they just kind of hear the explanation. They're like, yeah, I guess if I were to think about this long enough, sort of like in the Meno when Plato and Socrates is trying to teach the slave about geometry and is like, make a square that is double the size, and he just doubles the sides of them, and he's like areas trying to make it double an area, and he doubles the size. He's like, no, actually this is 4 times the size. What am I doing right now? It's a sort of like similar idea of when you kind of bring somebody through this, they kind of intuitively understand like, yeah, this is reasonable. This is just common sense for most people. So, but the better option, because a lot of times skeptics who will bring this up, they're voraciously skeptical about their ability to have knowledge. You know, if you just, it's just totally fine to bring up, you know, the first point is like, hey, we have these commonly accepted principles that you are invoking. So what we can do is we can just go off of those principles, or maybe I can just give an internal critique of your system and show how it's self-contradictory. Like there's nothing wrong with doing that. And I think it would border on intellectual dishonesty for anybody that you're talking to just sort of sit there and be like, well, no, we can't do that until we resolve all the way to the first principles. It's sort of like it's a sophistic charge that doesn't even really make any sense in the first place. But hope that was very lucid.
Well, we have a comment from a very strong, I'm assuming a Dyerite intellectual. I put it up on screen here. You can't know the criterion without begging the question. All of this is cope. And the reason I find this so funny is because Dyer openly admits to using circular reasoning for his presuppositionalist world.
Yeah.
Like, he openly admits to this. He actually, when I was DMing him, he sent me his debate with Trent Horn. And he was like, see, this is like what you need to know if you want to even have like a conversation with me. And I watched it, and Trent Horn, like, honestly just wipes the floor with him, because there's this cross-examination question where Trent Horn's like, okay, so you are presupposing that the specific Orthodox Christian worldview and that the Trinity is the foundation for everything. Can you explain to us why? And then Dyer says a bunch of big words, but in reality, all he's saying is, well, it's true because I believe it's true. And it explains all of the questions I have. And it's like, dude, no, you're still using first principles to explain these questions. Like, you can't really get away from that.
Yeah, and it would only be begging the question. I think a lot of these people, they haven't really studied logic too well, so they don't know like what this fallacy that they're actually bringing is. Begging the question would be trying to demonstrate something by relying on the same principle that you were demonstrating. But in the first place, we're saying that we're not demonstrating this because it's indemonstrable. Like, how can you accuse me of begging the question, which is a fallacy about demonstration, if I am saying that demonstrating this is impossible and that you can only defend it through other means, and that evidence comes immediately through your apprehension of it? Like, that's just, it sort of makes sense from the perspective of somebody who kind of just like listens to, let's say, Jay Dyer or somebody else talk, but it doesn't really make sense when you sort of sit down and actually think about what you're saying. You know, act rationally, be a reasonable person, and think about what you're actually saying and how what you're actually saying fits into what I'm actually saying. And you'll come to the conclusion that what you're saying is really stupid, and that what I'm saying, following the fathers of the church, you know, the scholastic philosophers, Aristotle, you know, and the sort of vast majority of the tradition of the perennial philosophy, actually the entirety of the perennial philosophy, you'll see what I'm saying is completely reasonable. What you're saying doesn't make sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, they're called first principles for a reason. Like, it's just so funny to me that Jay really thinks that like Aristotle just was like, he got it all wrong, and like St. Thomas just got it all wrong. Like, oh, we just needed to think in this presuppositionalist worldview. Like, yeah, Descartes, like, he, in one of his comments, he says, yeah, Descartes was like blaspheming God by saying, I think, therefore I am. And it's like, this is just absurd that you think yourself to be so intelligent that you can kind of just undermine what, 3,000 years of.
What? Wait. He's saying Descartes was blaspheming God by saying, "I think, therefore I am."
Yeah, he has
Does
this
he not know
comment.
that Descartes got that from Saint Augustine?
Yeah, no, he literally he has it pinned in one of his and I think it's the Trent Horn debate. He says he quotes, he says, "I am that I am" from God, and then he says, "I think, therefore I am." One of them is true, one of them is blasphemy. I'll find it real quick.
Yeah, Descartes got that from Saint Augustine.
Here,
Because like this is what I
yeah,
said is a lot of times what Orthodox and a lot of modern philosophers what they'll do is they'll kind of have this explanation of history, and their explanation of history is like basically everybody until the Enlightenment they didn't really think about the first principles of their science. They didn't really think about how they could be certain about their knowledge. They kind of just assumed all of it and didn't really write about it a lot. And once Descartes and Kant came on the scene, and Hegel and all of these different philosophers of the modern era, once they came on the scene, the scholastic tradition, they just kind of like they were shaking and crying and crashing out. They had no idea what to do. What will we ever do to this? But when you look at ancient philosophy, yeah, that's stupid. Ancient philosophy actually had to deal with skepticism. Like Heraclitus is explicitly refuted by Aristotle in Book 4 of the Metaphysics, and the reason for this is because Heraclitus denied, the first principle. He denied the first principle and thought that you could have, contradiction coexisting, and therefore Aristotle he disputes against him. And there were there were the academics, right? And the academics, they were explicitly written against by a lot of different Christian philosophers, including St. Augustine very early. His first tract in his life was actually against this skepticism. So you have already a locus in philosophy where they are treating anti-skeptical worldviews, and they have set arguments and set explanations and set definitions and set distinctions between even a variety. Like there's a famous dispute between the Scotus and the Thomists. Actually, there's a famous dispute between some of the Scotus and each other. There's a famous dispute between certain Jesuits and the majority of the tradition. And so like there's actually like a very solid, systematic, synthesized understanding of the skeptical problem going all the way back to the era of the Church Fathers. And the schools, the scholastics, were actually disputing even very, very niche questions and problems and explanations about how this functioned between one another long before the skeptical problem was even brought up in modern philosophy. And I think this just comes down to the fact that the sort of modern narratives, especially a lot of the modern narratives of modern academia, they're not going to be able to sustain and survive the ability for a lot of us to interact with primary source material. And this is an issue with academia, as there is these sort of narratives that survive for a very long time. And these narratives are bolstered sometimes for ideological reasons. And once you have people, like myself and others, who are able to go and to read primary source material across, wherever they want. We have Google Books now, we have archive.org, we have Anna's Archive. We can go wherever we want and read a billion different books about something if we want to. We don't have to rely on what other people say. So when you're able to actually do that and to analyze these problems under that light, you're able to just show how a lot of these, or indicate at least how a lot of these narratives are just they're stupid. Like a lot of these narratives, they don't make any sense. Like when you actually look into it, just even for briefly, like I haven't been studying for that long. Like when you look into these things, even briefly, you're able to come to the conclusion that a lot of these are just made up. And in this case, we actually do have a very robust tradition against skepticism that has been, and every single objection under the sun has basically been answered and was already answered even as far back as Aristotle, which is kind of funny. And in the era of the Church Fathers, all they did was basically just repeat what Aristotle said against the skeptics, which was ultimately what was received and explained among the scholastics. So any idea that any sort of Christian tradition like Orthodoxy, who claims sort of continuity with antiquity, they cleave to antiquity, and any sort of Christian tradition who claims to have continuity with antiquity, that they are going to be able to throw aside these explanations given from the fathers against the skeptics and say that Aristotle was stupid for what he said and the scholastics were stupid. Like they are just, I mean, they're giving themselves enough rope to hang themselves with. Like they're shooting themselves in their foot because they're totally not being at all in line with the ancient tradition of the church, who always, adhered to these sort of expressions that are taken up by the scholastics.
Yeah.
Who are the scholastics reading, right? That's who are they reading? They were reading the church fathers. They were continuing that conversation.
Yeah, no, there's a funny question. I wish I had seen Jay respond to it in his debate with Trent Horn, where they did a debate on natural theology in general. And Trent asks Jay, he says, there's this passage where Jesus says, hey, I want you guys to believe on account of the good works that I've shown you. And he's like, hey, like that is natural theology. That's taking evidence and then coming to certain conclusions with it. And that's not the presuppositionalist view that Dyer explicates in his videos and in his debates. And Jay just kind of ignores it. I really wish that I had seen an answer because I don't think there is an answer. Because I would say, like Christ, Paul, Peter, even they very clearly explicate natural theology and this idea that we can naturally know things. You don't have to have some basis for the Trinity. And this is why people like Dyer have to say that, Moses and Abraham had a full conception of the Trinity before
Israel for that.
It's insane. Like
Israel for that.
Yeah.
I believe this.
Oh, do you really?
I mean, I think they explicitly believed in the Trinity. I don't think that fully fleshed out view would be the right way of putting it. Like, I don't. It's like questionable that did they understand divine generation and the procession of the Spirit? Like, probably not. I mean, they might have. Like, blessed Moses was trained in all of the wisdom of Egypt. Like, he was a pretty smart dude. He might have come to the conclusion, but I think that they at least believed in the tri-personality of God, and that the teachers of Israel probably understood this as well to a greater or lesser degree. And over time, this probably developed into like a more explicit understanding up into like to prepare for the coming of the full revelation of the Trinity that came in the New Testament. But I think it would be erroneous just to like completely deny that there was an understanding of the Trinity among those in the Old Testament. But
that's interesting. I didn't expect you would take that stance. I would say, they could definitely affirm some, relation within God, possibly even the three persons. But I don't want to misrepresent Jay. That's definitely not what I want to do. But I'm pretty sure the claims that he makes is that in order to believe in God at all, you have to have the foundation that we call the Trinity. And that's not just saying like, oh, there's relation and we can say that there's three persons, but you would have to have, some sort of fully explicated view, maybe not, all the different fancy terms that we use, but you'd have to say there is a father who begets a son. And then what we would say is that the Spirit is proceeding from both of them. And
I think the better direction of going here would just be to kind of say what most of the tradition already says, because there are a lot of church fathers who comment on this problem specifically. But the better way of going about this would be like, okay, well, we kind of all agree, at least by us, I mean the scholastics and the church fathers. I don't know about the Orthodox, but we kind of already agreed that at least the minor, the lessers, right? The ordinary folk in Israel who believed in God and worshiped God, that these ordinary folk did not explicitly believe in the Trinity. That would probably be the better way of going about it. Like we can inquire about the priests and Moses and blessed Moses and blessed Abraham, but
I mean, even the pagans that Paul runs into, I think that's like an even stronger case. Like he says, no, you guys, even though you don't know jack squat about this God, like you're really calling the unknown God, you're still referencing the same God, or you're still making a reference towards that God.
Yeah, even like what sort of has made me like what's so annoying about this is that when you go into the sort of first period of church history, like after the apostolic fathers, which they kind of wrote like they wrote exactly like how the authors of the New Testament wrote. Like when you read Clement or Ignatius or Barnabas, pseudo Barnabas, I don't know if you think he's pseudo or not, but when you read these early authors, they write a lot like the authors of the New Testament. But the era after that, it's called the era of the apologists, And basically, like St. Justin Martyr and Athenagoras and other authors of this sort, their whole goal was to provide an apologetic for Christianity to the contemporary world in which they lived, and oftentimes in philosophical modes and expressions that were taken from the Peripatetic school, which broadly the followers of Aristotle and Plato. So when you look into the earliest time of the fathers of the church, like we're talking 2nd century, Athenagoras, I think, might be the earliest example. Like they're doing natural theology. They are doing natural theology. They are offering arguments for the existence of God that are, common to them and the pagans, and saying, hey, you believe this about God. I can demonstrate this about God. You're inconsistent with yourself because we can demonstrate the one God from nature, and you are having all of these abominations in your sort of false pagan rites, et cetera, et cetera. So I think it's just kind of silly if you are going to claim both to have continuity with the Christian tradition and also to basically deny that natural theology is possible, because this is sort of, it's something that's made up in the modern, like there's nothing in the sort of historic Christian profession before the era era that is a denial of natural theology. Like this is just made up. It's a pure novelty. Like one couldn't even claim that the fathers of the church believe this. That would just be ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's I think the whole thing is really dumb, but it's a really good way to make it look like you're winning debates, right? Because it's like,
yeah,
if you're so right about your first principles, then demonstrate them to me. And it's like, well, you look like an idiot to random people who have never learned about any of this crap, because you're like, actually, no, I can't demonstrate it. I just believe it. And I can, kind of explain why I believe it, but I can't prove it to you. And then they're like, oh, see, he can't even prove the basic things that he believes in. And it's like, yeah, maybe to random people, this is a really good debate strategy, but go watch half of his debates. He doesn't prove anything. There's not really any proving that goes on. It's just, well, I don't have to accept that. Well, you see, St. Maximus the Confessor and Mark of Ephesus, they actually believe exactly what I believe, and therefore I'm right. But I don't actually even believe that the saints have any evidential reasoning unless you interpret it the same way that I do. It's like, this is just complete nonsense. That's not how we have conversations with people.
Yeah, exactly. So do you want to kind of get into some of these chats from the chat?
Chats from the chat.
Or is there anything else that you wanted to kind of go into about this?
I mean,
because I could just talk about the epistemology stuff all night if you wanted me to.
I mean, it's fun. We could talk about our boy Cleve if you want. Maybe we could give him a little bit of a shout out here.
Dude, shout out to our boy Cleve to Antiquity.
Yeah. Dude, oh my goodness. I called him Cleve to Jay Dyer, and he was like, I can't believe he said that about me. It's like, come on, bro.
Yeah, it's sort of funny is you have these guys, and they're supposed to be like comedians and blood sports debaters and stuff like this. The moment you say something that's actually funny and not just pretending to be gay and having bisexual lighting and dancing to music, being cringe, the moment that you say actually something that's funny, all of a sudden they're like, that's not funny. That's not funny. They can't understand jokes either. So I told Jay, I'm like, Jay, about $6,000. Come on, dude. 25 grand in a fishing trip. And why don't we throw a game of online Risk in it? No, my boy Noah and we're going to be on the same, we're teaming up. Ortho bros are not allowed to team up on the game of Risk. They're like, well, I see that you're running right now. It's like, dude, it was a joke. You literally follow a guy who was comedian in his bio, and you cannot follow a joke. And then these blood sports debaters are supposed to be super tough, and they're supposed to be like, we don't care about how people see us. We're super tough. They're never going to be able to understand us. They're so these piety LARPers, quoting scripture and saying charity to us, these piety LARPers. And then the moment you jab at them in a good natured way, and you say something like Cleve to Jay Dyer, or the million things that people have formed from Cleve to Antiquity, all of a sudden, why are you being so mean? Why are you being so rude to me? I thought you were a tough, ultra, blood sports debater. All of a sudden, you're offended by the fact that I changed your name around a little bit.
Yeah,
it's these people.
Yeah, and not that it messed with me at all, But like, it's just funny because Jay, he started calling me Jesus and chatbot, which, you know what? Hey, kind of clever. That's funny. I thought that was a funny joke. But then it's just like, if you say cleave to Jay Dyer, it's, oh, that's completely off the table.
What did Jay Dyer call? I don't think Jay Dyer's come up with a cool name for me. I'm kind of like offended by now. He just calls me Wagner.
I mean, there's a very clear joke that can be made with your name. It's kind of just, you have to change one letter.
Dude, I've heard this since childhood. You guys are not clever by calling me Fagner. Not funny. Okay,
you're begging for it. You're absolutely begging for it.
Okay, Jay, I will give you permission to say it. Okay, you don't have to keep being so nice. I know that I know that I'm very highly respected in the e-apologist community. You very highly respect me. But Jay, we can kind of let our hair down. You know, we could be chill with one another. That's totally fine. Like, I can call you Gay Crier. I think that's pretty pretty funny.
That's very
funny. Call him Gay Crier. You can call me Fagner. I don't care. Yeah. I do not care. It's totally fine. We can be friends with one another, Jay. We can be chill.
Yeah, I tried to be chill with him. He actually came up on the stream. We had a very cordial discussion with one another. We agreed to a debate topic, but
are you actually going to debate him?
I was going to, and then he did all this switching around. Like, Jay, hey, offer is still on the table. I promise. I swear before everyone here, I will not have Wagner call and unsell our audio. I will not be using AI.
I will do a fishing stream. Like, I'm serious about doing a fishing stream. I will find a fishing spot because I live in North Dakota. So there's not a lot of good fishing spots with good cell receptivity. I will find a fishing spot with good receptivity, just even if it sucks and I don't catch anything because the spot sucks. Like, I will find one. I will literally go fishing and live stream the whole thing while the debate's happening.
No, the thing is with this debate, like, I am 100% open. Jay Dyer, I will debate you on the Filioque. That will happen. I will debate you. We can do really, like, if you just want to have open dialogue with a moderator, we can do that on the Filioque. But the thing that happened in the DMs, and you can kind of see this with some of the screenshots that got put out there. It started off, he agreed to do Filioque debate. And then after that, he wanted to do absolute divine simplicity and then Filioque. And then after that, he said, how about we just do a 4-hour conversation with all these topics? And so it seems like Jay, and again, I don't want to make any false assumptions, but it really does seem like he's just trying to find one topic where I'm not very strong on it. And then he's going to say that, like, that's the weak point. And then, therefore, we can't talk about absolute divine simplicity. We can't talk about the Filioque. And it kind of just seems, again, like he's running. But, you know, do whatever you want, Jay. You have no obligation to debate me. But it would be fun. I would enjoy a conversation on the Filioque with you.
Oh, yeah. Also, I need to mention the Joe Schmid.
Oh,
is it Schmid or Schmidt? I think it's Schmid.
I think it might just be Schmid.
Schmid. That's amazing. That was awesome. You guys need to pray for him, okay? Because kind of coming into, you know, the church with this sort of sort of boost, right? You're coming in and you're sort of well regarded, and you know, you want to make content. You know, that's it's a scary thing, right? It's a tough thing. So definitely pray for him and his conversion. Well, it's continual sanctification, I guess, at this point. But yeah, that awesome news. I didn't even believe it when I saw it.
Yeah, didn't he reference Ethan Muse as like a huge contributor to his conversion, like all the miracle stuff that Ethan Muse has been doing lately?
I don't know.
I heard that somewhere. It might not. I might just be making something.
Sure, the people love the miracle content. They just love it. Like, the Vatican needs to open up the archives so we can go through. We can attach ChatGPT to all the archives.
There you go.
And then boom, we're producing like 1 billion videos exhaustively proving all the miracles. I don't think a lot of people realize how awesome the process for canonization is. And I guess you could say used to be more rigorous than this, so was to an even greater degree. But the process for canonization, I mean, it's basically like how you would think about a criminal trial, right? They're almost like putting the saint and their sanctity on trial. They're putting all these miracles on trial, and they're going through and looking at all the evidence, and they're trying to disprove the sanctity of this person. They're trying to disprove all the validity of the miracles. They're providing evidence. You know, they're providing possible other explanations. They're excluding those. They're talking to experts in their fields to get their feedback on all of these different aspects of the miracles. So miracle claims, like in the Catholic Church, are extremely, extremely solid and systematic. But it's just unfortunate we don't have a lot of the documentation that can actually go through and, be used to substantiate a lot of, probably a lot of the work has already been done for us by the Vatican, but we sort of have to kind of follow up and, follow in their footsteps and redo a lot of work, unfortunately.
Yeah. I figured we can move into the super chat section. I've been getting a couple. A really good place to start those is one of our.
No. Get rid of that guy. Ban him.
Dude, Cleve,
moderator in Noah's chat. Ban him. Okay?
Don't ban him.
Top guy.
Cleve, dude. If Cleve gets his hands on that clip of us talking about that, dude, it's game over. He's gonna have an absolute field day on X. He's gonna be like, "Oh, these guys, they love talking about penises." It's like, "Oh my gosh, bro."
I'm still gonna ratio him about it.
Yeah, it'd be good.
They're calling my recent ratio of Cleve the worst ratio that has ever been on theology Twitter.
It's pretty.
That's what they're calling it. I don't even call it that. Like, that's just what people are telling me.
What's the current number right now? Like what is our?
I don't know. I was just joking about that. I could check, but
I think it'd be an interesting stat to check out here.
That was literally like the most obvious response. This is why I don't know whether these people are like unintelligent or if they are just like they're hoping people don't bring it up because it's like uncouth. But that's the most obvious response ever. You're like, oh, Jesus and whatnot, his conversion had to do with a dream. Dude, you famously came out a year ago that your conversion had to do with smelling incense. I'm not even like dunking on you for that. I'm just dunking on you for like the hypocrisy, the manifest hypocrisy with all of this is just like trying to dig up stuff to dunk on people and then being so shameless about it that you're dunking on yourself in the process. Like, do you have any self-respect? You knew that somebody was going to bring this up. Like, you had to have seen this coming.
Yeah.
Unless you're just like profoundly unintelligent. You didn't see this coming. This is the most obvious response in the history of responses is to go and to quote tweet that and say, dude, didn't you convert because you smelled incense? That should be the most obvious thing ever.
Yeah. You are sitting at 2.1K likes with 60,000 views. He has more views. He has 88,000 views with 219 likes. So it's just one of the most brutal ratios in all of human existence, I would say.
We don't even want the ratios if they're not 10x. Okay, the normal ratio, the era of normal ratio is done. If the ratio isn't 10x, we don't want it.
Yeah,
I'm joking, guys. Okay, I'm being expressive and stuff. I'm just kidding around. Don't take me too seriously when I say this stuff. Okay, I guess I will start on my side first. We'll do the back and forth again. I have some friends coming over later, but I got plenty of time.
Turn on a light here.
What's up, my brothers? How we doing today? We spent the first 10 minutes talking about that, so you kind of wasted your super chat on that, but hello. Okay, your turn.
Good super chat. Thanks for throwing that out there, Wagner. Can we take this to the bathtub? All right. Say what you want about Dyer. One of the funniest things he's ever done. I'll say that. That was one of the funniest things. He joined my stream from the bathtub. I thought that was hilarious. But no, I don't.
Yeah, what is it with the bathtub lore? Can somebody catch me up on this?
Yeah, so there's a dude, Dean Withers, the leftist dude who's dealing with the allegations right now.
Like the rapist guy.
Alleged. Don't contribute to it.
I'm saying alleged.
Yeah, I think he's pretty clearly disproven the claims. But yeah, no, there was this one dude who joined one of his TikTok lives from a bathtub, and Dean, he's like, why is your like microphone echoing? And like, why is there water in the background? Are you in the bathtub? And the dude's like, no. And then he's like, and Dean's like, stomp on the ground for me. And then you just hear like this cannonball sound effect, bro. It's like the loudest splash of water ever. So a bunch of people started joining his stream from the bathtub. And then I joined, I debated him, and it was pretty rough for him. And then he told me that he wanted me to come back on so we could continue our conversation after, he muted me and brought up other people to debate me. So I joined back in, but I was in the bathtub when I joined. And so these
people are so not nice. Why are you muting people and kicking them off? Look, I get that I kicked off Dyer that one time, but that was funny. Yeah, that's the difference. Is these people are just seething about it. When I did it was funny. Okay. So that's why it made sense. Yeah, there's the we forgot to even bring up the classic Jay, how many relations are there in the Trinity debate? I don't even call it a debate. It was just like I was streaming at the time. I was crashing out. I shouldn't have even had a discussion with Jay. Like, that was just stupid. Brought him on, crashed out some more. And then, in the eyes of many people say that I did quite good in this discussion.
Quite good.
But yeah, I kicked him out after that because that was just it was rage fuel. This is why I can't do this anymore. I'm too weak, guys. I'm too weak. I get irascible too quickly when I'm having these discussions. I need to take a chill pill. Too energetic.
Did you not see my thumbnail? I made it hoping to get a chuckle out of you, but
did you?
I'm kind of disappointed that there wasn't even a single mention of the thumbnail.
I'm stone cold. What can I say?
Yeah.
Well, I see it now. Okay, awesome. Yeah, he's crashing out. That's from that AI video that people kept making. Okay, that's a gem. I like it.
Okay, I appreciate it, man. I did work hard on it. All right, you go ahead. We got to get through these super chats.
Oops, man. I slipped in a double burger from Wednesday. Went down my throat. They're just making fun of you for eating a burger today.
Hey, guys, I get it, but I fulfilled my obligation. I'm not saying it was the right thing to do or the most profitable thing to do, but I still did what I had to do. I'm scared of women too, Wagner. Carmelite Templar, absolute regular, really cool guys.
Dude, this is the thing. Is like, as Saint Albert the Great said famously in his commentary on Aristotle's on animals, he said, "If I could tell you everything I know about women, it would stupefy the world." That's how I feel. It's like when you read the tradition and you read what they say about women, you're like, dang, they're right. This is like scary stuff. I feel in danger for my life. It's like when you get red pilled on Israel and you're like, Assad is going to kill me. This is how you feel when it's with women. So I actually never leave my studio. I actually have it locked up. My wife, she will like put food through the door and I will eat it. And then I'll go on walks in the middle of the night when there are no women. But unfortunately, I went on a walk too early, or I guess too late rather, this morning, and there was a Foyd who was prancing about with her dog. So it was unfortunate, but I'll get over it. But thank you for your concern. Okay, Lindsay Clancy wife or Jay Dyer husband? That's a hard one because if I say Lindsay Clancy wife, then my kids die. If I say Jay Dyer husband, then I'm gay. So like,
I think the assumption is that you are a woman.
Well, I'm not a woman.
Oh, did you have what would happen if you didn't have breakfast this morning? What would that be like?
But I did have breakfast this morning.
All right. Barring that you're a man currently, let's say you're a woman who has to submit and be crazy sometimes. Would you prefer to be in that situation with a Jay Dyer husband, or would you rather have?
But I'm not a woman.
All right, there we go.
But I'm not.
I think that means the answer is Jay Dyer because you don't want to answer with that. That's pretty gay, man.
I mean, dude, it's a good-looking guy. What can I say?
Dude, Cleve, please clip it, bro. Post that all over X. Cleve to Antiquity, please.
Dude, what can I say? I had to mute Jay for a reason. Wow. We gotta take away all the occasions on social media.
Dude, I'm gonna pull up Cleve to Antiquity's X so that I can see him post it when it happens.
See the live. I think he's probably doing one of his like 9-hour streams right now.
Yeah, most likely. Is he?
Does he still have the bisexual lighting? That'd be pretty funny if he does. Because back in the day, that classic, the classic trio you had. I mean, back in the day, we had a lot of the ortho bros. Not like these new guys. Back in the day, we had Jay. Obviously, Jay's always been around. We had David Erhan. David Erhan, he's like solid debater for sure. Like I debated him. I found it to be a really good debate. I think there were certain points when, I got the upper hand and I made a point that he couldn't respond to. But solid debater, great memory, just good guy too. I would say, he said some things about me. Whatever, we all say things about each other. We had Jay, we had David Erhan, we had Orthodox Kyle. Just this like. Little pipsqueak, on YouTube doing stuff. Now he's got like a beard or something, like total fall off. He used to be, just a nice young man. We had who else did we have
Ubi?
back in the day? We had Ubi. Ubi, very disrespectful debater. Very
Oh my
disrespectful. Do not
Yeah.
like that guy. David Erhan's cool. Ubi sucks. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
we had
Ubi,
all the old heads, and then now we have like the lawyer guy. Like, who the frick is that? You know the guy I'm talking about, the lawyer guy. He does like 72-hour live streams too.
Yeah, something. Alex Soren, maybe.
Yeah,
Something
that
like
guy.
that.
We got that guy. We got Cleve now. Like, really big downgrade in the Orthodox apologists. Back in the day, like, I don't know. I feel like Orthodox Kyle and I, Christian Mario, you know, even Jay himself, David Erhan, like we could chill and, you know, have a good time, you know, do some good rage bait, have some fun, argue with one another. It'd be good. But now these new heads, goodness.
Yeah. No,
it's terrible.
Yeah. Okay. Is it your turn or my turn?
I think it's your turn.
All right. I'm gonna do two just because one of them's a real quick. Hey, Jaw, the Discord link expired. Too bad, man. Discord's very exclusive for the Jesus and Whatnot Discord. Nobody gets it unless I'm feeling really nice.
Okay, well, the Wagner Telegram chat that I never respond in, if you're a patron on patreon.com/militant-thomist, you can go there and message in there and have like a 25% chance that I'll actually be in there and respond. So,
wow.
Pretty good deal, you know?
Well, there you go. Holy smokes, Jaw and Wagner. If I can't sleep now, that's not even a complete sentence. All right, you're up, man.
10 joules? Wait, what was that? 100 joules? What's a joule?
I think 1 joule is 1 cent. So those are like $1 donations. It's
Where?
like a new YouTube thing. It's like they're trying to be TikTok a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know about any of this TikTok stuff. I never had it downloaded on my phone ever.
Wow, good for you, man.
Is it sinful? I mean, I'm old, so there wasn't TikTok when I was. We were all there. There wasn't even Instagram Reels until I was an adult. Like
that's pretty upsetting. Dude, you're so old.
There was not.
Go sub to my Substack.
Came out like 5 years ago, dude.
Go check out my Substack, guys, please.
True. I told you I'm becoming unk. I stopped streaming.
Time.
Like I have my streaming frequency has went down a lot. Writing a lot more, doing less frequent videos. I am not on Twitter as much. I'm just becoming old. Like I'm preparing for the next stage in life. You got to accept that, guys. Not going to see me streaming 7 times a week anymore.
You got to come back and start doing like the Mr. Beast like super big smile thumbnail, like reacting to just like Protestant slop from TikTok. Yeah, I'm telling you.
Dude, I don't know. I like. Okay, so I'll put it like this. I sometimes see on my feed, I'll come across this genre of content. You know, you'll see like, don't mean to call them out, but the Pints of Aquinas videos of like reacting to like atheist TikToks with what's his name. That sounds like torture. Sounds like I'd rather die than do that. Wow. sort of
it
thing.
It can be fun sometimes. I'll be completely honest. If you have a buddy like me and Sam before
but like we're young. We're young. These people are like in their 40s. I don't know. Half Brad, he's in his 40s. Some of the people that he's like doing this with are in their 60s or 70s. Like reacting to TikTok. If you're doing a live stream, it's kind of a looser sort of thing. You're just having fun watching stuff and, you know, just being expressive and people enjoy it. It's entertaining. Like I get that. But what do we do? Like, what are with these? You know, you have to eventually, over time, you have to realize you're getting older, and the type of content you produce should be reflexive of your age. You know, when I'm 40, I won't be doing TikTok review content. When I'm 50, when I'm 60, I won't be doing TikTok review content. You gotta stream your age. You gotta make video of your age. That's sort of the biggest problem with Jay Dyer. You know, he's a 40-some-year-old dude doing these like live stream blood sports debates. That's a young man's sort of endeavor, not an old man's endeavor. We're getting too old for that, Jay.
Yeah, no, it's like I think the older the person is, the harder it is to watch the reaction stuff, which kind of makes me a little bit worried about what my future is like. But no, like the Ben Shapiro stuff, dude. If you want to sit down, and,
Ben
like,
Shapiro reacting to
dude,
TikTok.
if you want to do penance, dude, make yourself sit down and watch one of the Ben Shapiro like 45-minute long reacting to liberal TikToks videos. It's like he's just sitting there. He's like, "Oi, oh, that's a bad opinion." Next, and it's like, oh, dude, it's really really tough to watch, man.
Ben Shapiro reacts to woke TikToks. Then you're also okay. I won't say that. I will not get you in trouble with your audience. Okay. So I was gonna say that it's worse. You're like a Jewish guy. You're like watching a Jewish guy react to this content.
So you did say
Jews, they have like
just
personality
Yeah,
traits.
there was no holding back.
I said I wasn't gonna say it, but then I said it. I'm not coming back from it now.
Yeah.
Like, the Jews, they like have a certain type of like expression to content. I love, for example, Gideon Lazar, awesome guy. Could you imagine watching Gideon Lazar react to TikToks? That would be painful. But you have a Jew and they're going out and debating somebody else. That's amazing. Jews, they know how to debate people. Like you watch a Jew debate somebody, they're talking a mile a minute. That's some solid content. We need to get a Jew on Jay Dyer. We need to get Jewish converso, sick them on Jay Dyer. That would be fun. But reacting to TikTok content, that's just not. A Jew should never be doing that.
Well, fun fact for you, and this is something I try and keep on the down low, but there actually is some pretty serious Jewish heritage in myself. So they have referenced me as the Catholic redeemed Zoomer at times, just because we share a similar ancestry. We've got German Jew, we've got Polish Jew, so just take that with a grain of salt.
German Jew and Polish Jew, neither German nor Polish. That's crazy.
No,
stolen valor. That's stolen valor.
We have real German. So dad's side, very 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 German, and then my mom's side is just like straight German and Polish Jew. So I'm technically a Jew, like ethnically, according to like the maternal passing down. I am technically a Jew.
Yeah, but I mean, like, by German Jew, you mean like a Jew in Germany, not like German. Like Germans, like a certain ethnic group that my ancestors come from.
Well, no, I have
persecuted your ancestors.
I have both. That's what I was just saying. My dad.
Oh, really? So you're
So I'm like a Holocaust infusion.
Interesting.
Yeah, they both came over around the same time.
Really? When did they come over?
Well, it's actually a really tragic story. Probably shouldn't share it on here, but
I'm saying like time frame.
Yeah, like during and shortly before World War II. Yeah, it's actually horrible stuff. It's really not good, but
I can't say anything without getting in trouble. So let's go on to the next super chat. All right. I cannot be baited into this. Okay, is it sinful to watch and discuss combat sports like boxing and MMA for entertainment? I don't know.
I think Augustine talks about it a little bit, right?
You probably should not be watching people beat the crap out of each other for fun. I don't know. It just seems kind of obvious to me. Yeah. It's like, what if I got a hammer and I like beat somebody with a hammer and you're just like watching me, but the other person agreed to get beat by the hammer and you're just like watching me on live stream, just like beat the crap out of somebody with a hammer. I don't know. It seems like you probably shouldn't be watching that for fun.
Yeah, I think St. Augustine talks about this in Confessions. What was the one dude? He was like in the process of converting. He loved going to the Colosseum though, and he kept like whatever that dude's name was. Seems like a similar thing. I don't watch it.
Basically, I mean, I guess there's different types of martial arts that probably wouldn't be like equivalent to beating somebody with a hammer. But I feel like MMA, you're always hearing about somebody like snapping their leg in half or like getting serious concussions, and it just seems like a type of martial arts that probably isn't good for people.
Yeah. No, I think I think the main reason people watch that is because they do want people to get hurt too. It's like you can pretend to be like, "Oh, that's so rough," but like let's be honest. Like there's some instinct in us to be like, "That was pretty awesome. That guy's dude just."
It's kind of like people watching gore. That's another weird thing that has come with the internet is like I wonder if there's any connection between that. People get like really desensitized from gore. I saw somebody tweet out like a really weird tweet of like, oh, I'm going back to confession for gore, like watching gore. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, that's really strange. You know, somebody's going to confession to watch gore. And then I thought about it more and I'm like, well, I guess there like are people out there who like have a really disordered relationship with content like that actually need to go to confession for it in order to, you know, purify their souls from that. So I think it actually is a problem that doesn't really get talked about that much, is like how bad a lot of this stuff is.
Yeah, we're about to get like a Wagner documentary on why you shouldn't be. It's gonna be added to the list. No singing, no dancing, no smiling,
No gore. True.
Good news, Joseph Smith converted to Catholic. Yeah, I read that already. Absolute W. Thanks for doing that, dude. That's super based.
John, despite what you think of Jay, the transcendental argument would have been better against Parker.
I think the 5 ways are much stronger than the transcendental argument, specifically because you can come to, if you can get them to agree to, you know, like pure act, like you can literally just be like, yeah, that's God, and pure act follows directly from the 5 ways. So I think it's a much better, like you kind of, you know, have a lot of non sequiturs from the transcendental argument in my opinion. Like it's like, you know, oh, here, well, I'll walk you through tag, but how do we know that this is the personal God that we specifically talk about? Like, how is that, you know, proving it? You can point to it, but I don't think it proves it. I think St. Thomas, like, through his 5 ways, like, definitively proves it.
True. Okay, somebody's asking me whether I'm going to continue my New Aquinas Academy courses on YouTube. No, I'm not. You guys didn't watch them, so you guys being punished.
Hey, I watched them. I thought they were great.
Patriot.
Yeah. No, I was watching.
You guys, you ruined it. You didn't watch them.
I think I was watching them before I even like was initiated into the church. I was watching them while I was like not even like fully Catholic or like even like assenting to Catholic beliefs.
True. The takeover of TikTok from the Wagner acolytes must commence, guys. If you're out there, just read, study, learn more, and then spread it like a virus. Spread it like a virus everywhere you can go, okay?
I'm telling you, it's happening. I get like probably like 3,000 DMs a day at this point. It's ridiculous. And the amount of DMs I've received that are just like, hey, I want to start reading St. Thomas Aquinas. How can I do that?
True.
Super based.
Is the Leibniz distinction to the peripatetic axiom, except the intellect itself, necessary? How are abstract and metaphysical concept first in the senses? Does it make the axiom reduced to absurdity? No, because I mean, basically what the axiom is actually meant to say is not that all of these concepts or ideas are formally first in the senses. It's like, obviously, when it comes to abstract concepts, like universals, for example, don't even formally exist outside of the intellect. Like second intentions, universals, properly speaking, they exist formally in the intellect. Like there's a sense in which we can say, you know, that they, you know, exist in particular natures, you know, as particular, but that's like a little bit of a circumlocution. So when it comes to all of these, we're not saying that they first formally exist in the senses. What we're saying is that the intellect first apprehends being through something abstracted from the senses. And there's a dispute between Thomas and Scotus on this point. So Thomas will just say this is a necessary condition. They don't say that it's actually causes like our knowledge of these things. It just says that it's like originative and it's just like a necessary condition of it. Whereas the Scotus just say that this happens to be an occasion of it. And it's like, it's a subtle dispute, but you know, it's worth mentioning at least. But yeah, this is sort of thought through, and a lot of the denials of the peripatetic axiom, it basically just comes from, you know, lacking that distinction that, oh, we just mean in like an originative way. We kind of see this in our own thinking as well. Like when you want to explain abstract concepts to somebody, you do it through like concrete and particular and sensible ways. Like when I want to explain, you know, procession to somebody, I give them the example of a parent and a child, or I give the example of, you know, a stream of water. Or I give an example of all of these sort of particular concrete ways that you can sense. And then from sensing these individual things, you abstract to a universal. I'm not saying that these particular examples, that you sensing them or thinking about them, that actually that universal principle is like formally expressed sort of in a sensible way. Like that would just be super absurd. But what we are saying is we are saying that at least in a sort of originative way, it originates with that sort of thing. And then eventually we work up from there, leaving those behind. You need what's called the agent intellect in order to even have these sort of intellections that happen.
Yeah, I made a video on the peripatetic axiom and first principles recently.
Oh, nice.
It's on my channel. If you have more questions about that, it's not like a master class, but it's basically just like 101 because I read Reality by Lagrange, and he breaks it. Actually, just go read the book. Stop watching YouTube for all of your theology. Go buy on Amazon. It's like $10. Buy Reality: A Synthesis of Thomistic Thought by Reginald Garrigou Lagrange. Chapter 4 walks you through the peripatetic axiom and first principles, and it's amazing. Like he does.
No. What you have to do is you have to take that $10 you would have bought it from Amazon, pirate the book, and subscribe to the Substack.
Do not pirate the book. You get actually, it's probably is it 100 years? Is it public domain now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, then just do that. Read it online. I just like having physical copies because I can annotate. Wait, can we read Brain Rot Zoomers and read? Can we be Brain Rot Zoomers and read? Yeah. Next question.
It's difficult, but you can do it.
Oh no, you can totally do it.
Okay, do you agree with Astro and the metaphysical constituent of the divine nature? You were defending intellective virtual potency in God a few months ago. I agree with Astro in almost everything. Also, intellective virtual potency in God is awesome. That's the true position.
Help me understand the distinction a little bit.
So basically, like the question is a lot of time. I mean, you've probably read this before in Thomistic authors. Like they kind of take it for a principle that, in God, when it comes to intellect and intellection, there's not even a virtual distinction between intellect and intellection. Like a lot of authors will claim this. I don't really buy this. I think that there actually is a virtual distinction between intellect and intellection in God. That's sort of what it comes down to, is like how we distinguish between a faculty and its act. And I think that there actually is a virtual distinction between them. Whereas like a lot of Thomists, and I think it would probably be one would even be able to say the vast majority of Thomists, at least after like 17th century, would say that there is no virtual distinction whatever between faculty and act in God. It's a pretty subtle question, but there's some like applications to other areas of theology. But this is kind of helpful.
Yeah. Okay. I already answered this one, but yes. Thank you for the super chat.
True.
Super based. Can you all explain Thomist predestination? I mean,
it's sort of a broad question.
Yeah. I think you can give like we believe in asymmetric double predestination. So we do believe that the salvation of all men is ultimately up to God alone. But we draw a distinction that reprobation, so somebody going to hell, differs in causality from the predestination of the elect. So God explicitly causes the good, causes the virtue that leads the elect to go to heaven. But then he does not give the grace necessary for those who go to hell. He does not give them the necessary grace to overcome their sins and to repent. And so we do believe in predestination, but honestly, just read, what is it, question 23 or question 36? It's one of those two.
Nah, just read, it's 23, but just read the Bible.
Romans 9?
Romans 9.
There you go.
We're going to have a little Bible study here. Okay. Let me see. But it is not as though the word of God had failed. For not all who are descended from Israel belong to Israel. True. Not all who are Jews are real Jews. And not all children of Abraham, because they are his descendants. But through Isaac shall your descendants be named. Those who don't know the Bible, you should read your Bible more. Abraham, he had two children, Isaac and Esau. It says in Malachi that Esau, God hated, Jacob he loved, and that's Isaac's children. But there was this distinction between these two sort of groups, Israelites and the Edomites. And that's sort of what he's drawing this sort of analogy from, is the history of the patriarchs. This means that it is not the children of the flesh who are the children of God, but the children of the promise are reckoned as descendants. For this is what the promise said: about this time I will return, and Sarah shall have a son. And not only so, but also when Rebekah had conceived children by one man, our forefather Isaac, though they were not yet born and had done nothing either good or bad, in order that God's purpose of election might continue, not because of works, but because of his call. She was told, the elder will serve the younger, as it is written, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. What shall we say then? Is there any injustice on God's part? By no means. For he says to Moses, I will have mercy on whom I have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I have compassion. So it depends not upon man's will or exertion, but upon God's mercy. For the scripture says to Pharaoh, I have raised you up for the very purpose of showing my power in you, so that my name may be proclaimed in all the earth. So then he has mercy upon whomever he wills, and he hardens the heart of whomever he wills. And obviously, the hardening of heart is not like God has anti-grace that he's like infusing evil into people's hearts. No, we're already, due to the fact that we have original sin, we already tend towards evil. So God merely needs to permit us to be eviler. Like he doesn't need to infuse extra evil into us. But in order for us to be good, he's got to infuse righteousness into us so that we're not super evil.
Yeah. Last thing on predestination, just because we could talk about this for a Cleave to Antiquity stream. Read Pope Leo IV. He's super based on this. He explains it really well. I think it's Denzinger 628, if that sounds right. But no, it's pretty clear. He quotes from Romans 9 to defend his position, and it's just super based. So go read that.
Okay, Fenton says, regarding certitude, divine revelation from motives of credibility is distinct from the certitude we possess in the act of faith. If so, is there any causal relation between the motives and faith? Oh, yeah, this is a hugely disputed topic. If you want to read more about this, I think it's like volume 1, chapter... It's in volume 1 of De Revelatione from Gary Lagrange. I want to say it's like chapter 14. I don't know. It's near the end of the volume. He talks about there's like a billion different positions on this when it comes to the relationship between the motives of credibility, the judgment of credibility, and the act of faith. So, yeah, I guess I'll just give you a book recommendation since you like to read. And we need to get through all of these super chats.
Yeah, I've got 50 on my end, so we got.
Oh, dog, it's over for us.
Yeah, we've got to go through this. All right, what's the best soda here?
The best soda?
Red cream soda. Pretty good.
She's actually a type of root beer in North Dakota. It's called 1919 root beer. I like it. It's very good. Very good root beer.
I'll do 2 at a time. I'll go quick, I promise. You ready for Stuart to throw arguments that pagans used against the Eucharist by calling Vatican III Council Catholics cannibals? Yeah, man. I've heard it before. I think there's this one clip. It was Cliff Stewart and George Janko. I don't know if you know George Janko, but basically,
yeah, I've heard of this guy.
Yeah, George Janko is basically like, I can't believe that Catholics would take dirt and say that it's God, and it's like, dude, it's pretty crazy stuff to come from a Christian.
I don't know. It just seems like he doesn't know that blessed Adam came from the dirt, and therefore the body of our Lord originatively came from a line of dust, right, and ashes and dirt. He just hates the incarnation. He just doesn't know his Bible. He just doesn't just read the Bible, guys. It's not that hard.
Dude, if you read the Bible and
read the Bible yourselves, if you just sit down, read the Bible yourselves, you and your Bible under the tree will become Catholic. It's that easy. It's just read the Bible.
Yeah, basically. All right, your turn, man.
How do Eastern Orthodox deal with St. John of Damascus, who is an Aristotle enjoyer? They seethe about it. But anyways, when you look at St. John of Damascus's fount of knowledge, is it fount of knowledge or fount of wisdom? But he has, in the beginning of this, philosophical chapters where he basically just gives like a summary of Aristotle's teaching through the medium of the peripatetic commentators, which were the same commentators that were being used by the medieval scholastics. So literally St. John of Damascus was like, in a kind of cheeky way, you can say he was doing scholastic philosophy, just like the medievals were doing scholastic philosophy. And, he was one of the biggest influences on medieval scholasticism anyways.
Yes. All right. Have you read The True Devotion to the Blessed Virgin?
St. Louis de Montfort? Not entirely, no.
Nor have I. Maybe I will after this. I need to read more. Can you donate this money to Israel, please?
I mean, you're basically just donating it to your homies, right?
Pretty
much. You're
Big
flesh and blood. You're flesh and blood.
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
So wait, actually, maybe you were my Jewish lawyer the whole time.
That's what it was.
You were my Jewish lawyer.
Fun fact. Before my conversion, I was very interested in becoming a lawyer. You know what they say. It all checks out.
It all checks out. True. Well, before my conversion, I was actually, I kind of have a weird backstory. I don't think I've ever talked about this publicly. Before I converted, I actually wanted to be a quant, work on Wall Street, be a quant. So when I was in high school, I spurged out when I was a freshman, and I taught myself calculus so I could take the tests to pass through calculus, and then take 200s level classes. So I was I think a sophomore, junior. It must have been a junior in high school, taking 200s level math classes at the local college. And I was just going to max out all the math I could do so I could get into a really good college and, eventually get my PhD in math, and then probably be a coke addict on Wall Street, just working as a quant. But because those people, their lives are hellish. Quants, their lives suck. But that's what I wanted to do back in the day. And then when I converted, I started reading about theology, and I really liked it. So it must have been when I was a senior in high school, junior in high school. I can't remember anymore. Not to Catholicism. I was still a dirty Protestant.
Anglican.
Well, not at that point.
Oh,
I
you weren't.
I didn't become an Anglican until I got into college.
What were you before Anglican? I don't know.
I was just kind of broadly reformed. I didn't really. That's one of the first decisions you make when you start studying stuff seriously. Is okay, you're reformed, but what kind of reformed are you going to be? An Anglican, a Presbyterian? Are you going to believe in paedo baptism? What is the sort of ideas about that? And I guess I came from a more classically oriented Reformed tradition, so I actually did kind of care what the Church Fathers said. So I was well, Church Fathers really care about the episcopacy, and they really care about infant baptism in the liturgy. So I guess I'll become a Reformed Anglican, and then kind of went from there. So yeah, it wasn't until I got into college that I became a that I became an Anglican rather.
Based.
Okay, so hey Noah, I went to my church today. Talk with the priest about OCIA. I think I'm going to start in September and have all the sacraments by Easter Vigil. From Evan Lassard.
Dude, that's awesome. That's super based. We'll be praying for you. I promise. I'll offer up a rosary for you today or tomorrow. One of the two. That's super based.
So true.
Hey, Joel and Wagner, what are your opinions on God being logically necessary? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. He is. Thank you for the huge super chat, by the way. $20 is insane. That's ridiculous.
Okay, you're supposed to do a second one so we can get through these.
Gotcha. All right, what's your problem with Rene Dracula Descartes? Because he's the GOAT for creating the prototype of propositional attitudes. Did we crap on Descartes at all?
No, I think I kind of just crapped on modern academics for pretending Descartes was the first to bring the skeptical question. There are some circles so there was kind of a debate in the late 19th, early 20th century between two different schools of Thomism, and they were disputing over whether methodical doubt was even a coherent concept or not. That's sort of the only they don't even actually really reject Descartes' principle about the I think therefore I am, the cogito. They don't really even reject it. They kind of just say it's not the first principle. That's what they say. Is they're well, even as I mentioned, St. Augustine formulates a similar principle. It's an argument that has been given in the tradition for why skepticism is stupid. And it follows that skepticism is stupid. It just relies on higher principles. Because if you think about it, I think therefore I am. There's a sort of hidden minor premise in there, which is I think is not the same thing as, I don't think, and I am is not the same as I am not. So you are assuming the law of non-contradiction in making the argument. So some will even like very positively say that, he's expressing the first condition of knowledge, and that, so there's some like formulations of it that I actually kind of appreciate some of what he says in his, what is that, like his second meditational philosophy. I can't remember. I read that when I was in like high school, but it's been a while.
I wouldn't say I don't even have a problem with them. All right, your turn.
Pope St. Pius X stream after this? No. Okay, very easy.
All right, no Pope St. Pius X stream. Something's wrong. Why are there fish in the tank? So something's doubly wrong. There's fish in the tank, and it's not bright green anymore. Wagner's big steps in the world.
True. So the fish tank, I actually got a new fish tank. I originally had a 25-gallon tank. It's actually sitting right over there. But that one is a 60-gallon tank, and I chose out some different species. I actually have some baby black crappie in there. I have baby largemouth bass and all of the native minnow species to my area. It's like a Missouri River sort of tank. It's kind of cool. I put in little bloodworms in there and stuff, and they just rip them apart. The bass get big enough, and then they eat the other fish, and I have to put them back in the river. They're probably like this big. It's kind of crazy. They will be predators towards the other fish when they're like tiny guys. The crappie are the coolest. I think I'll probably keep them forever.
Wow.
And they're the easiest to feed during the winter because we have long winters here.
Super awesome.
Okay. Christian Wagner. Okay. There you go. Your turn now.
All right. Huge super chat from our boy Wild Blue. Good grief. I don't know what that is monetarily, but it's red. So thank you very much for your time.
I think it's 100 probably.
You think so?
Yeah. Your memberships are probably $5.
I think my memberships are like $2.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah. Joe, I'm going to blow my money on icons. I'm collecting the like Pokemon. Okay, on a serious note, my brother's being confirmed. I will pray for him. Yeah. Icons are super based. I wouldn't necessarily say blow your money on it though. Seems like Wagner has something to say here. Dude,
St. John of the Cross talks about this in book 1 of the Dark Night of the Soul when he's explaining what is spiritual gluttony. Where he's like makes fun of people for like, yes, the imperfections of spiritual gluttony. Whereas there's like a funny comment he makes. Talks about obedience. If I'm not able to find this, it's going to be over. Like talks about them basically like, oh, here it is. All their time is spent looking for satisfaction and spiritual consolation. They can never read enough spiritual books. And 1 minute they are meditating on one subject and the next on another, always hunting for some gratification in the things of God. God very rightly and discreetly and lovingly denies the satisfaction of these beginners. Oh, wait, no, that's not what I was looking for.
Dang, dude, this is like
he talks about like they go from like they're buying always new trinkets and they're buying like rosaries here, and then they're buying, a new icon there, and they should just be happy with like the simple stuff because that'll keep them from becoming attached to all of the instruments of spirituality. Maybe it's under spiritual avarice. I don't know. Somebody can find it.
We believe you. And just to be clear, half of the icons in my background, those are gifts. I mean, I would say, yeah. I mean, I get a tax write-off for them, so there's some justification. I got gifts back here.
Okay. I'm about to destroy you right now. Furthermore, they weigh themselves down with over-decorated images and rosaries. They now put these down, now take up others. At one moment, they are exchanging, and then the next re-exchanging. Now they want this kind, now they want another. And they prefer one cross to another because of its elaborateness. Others you see who are decked out in agnuces, I don't even know what that is, and relics and lists of saint names, like children in trinkets.
Dang.
He keeps like,
this is what I exposed.
It's kind of
Collecting all my
I'm
trinkets.
just messing around with you guys.
Yeah.
It's just kind of funny comments, but yeah, there is a sort of funny spiritual avarice that often arises where I catch myself doing this where it's like, oh, I should get an image of the saint, and then I'm like, why am I getting an image of the saint? I have like 2 other images of the saint. Like I can just have simplicity with this and sort of venerate the saint through this. I don't need all this extra stuff. Okay, do the debate. I'll pay for it. Okay, thank you, Anthony. Next, they're not even really asking me questions.
Yeah, I mean, I had somebody offer to pay the full 6,000 to Jay Dyer to debate me online. I was just like, no, he doesn't deserve this money. I genuinely offered him. I said I would pay you 2,000 out of pocket, Jay, and he still turned it down. Still found some excuse as to why it wasn't all right. It's pretty funny. Grown man, by the way.
Sad.
Huge super chat from dude. This is the same guy, Wild Blue. 10 more memberships. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Here's another one from a $50 super chat. Good grief, dude. You're all over it. Just do a fishing stream in your tank, Wagner. That's pretty good. Wagner's nice.
A fishing tank in my stream? No, I couldn't do that. That would hurt them. What a stupid idea. Stop giving money. Take them away. What a dumb idea.
No, I think that'd be good because then you could pipe in on Cellar Audio while you're fishing at the same time, but it would look like you're fulfilling all the requirements. So you could have like your cell audio like over to the right, and then you could just be like whisper.
My cell R audio.
Yes. All right. You're up.
Okay. Noah and Wagner, how do you feel about Need God saying that St. Thomas does not believe in the Immaculate Conception?
Oh my god!
What do you want me to feel? What do you want me to feel about that? Oh, I actually feel really good about that. What kind of question is that? You should think more before you send a super chat. You should think more about how you're phrasing the question. Like, what are you asking me how I feel about that? I don't feel anything about that. So I don't even know who this guy is. Needgod.net. He's like the guy with the Perry thing. He was like that guy. Yeah.
Wagner.
What do I feel about that?
I will pay you the $2,000 that was supposed to go to Jay Dyer if you have a debate with needgod.net on whether or not St. Thomas affirmed the Immaculate Conception.
Okay, but I'm using Del Prado. There's a whole book written on this. It's called it's in English. It would be the title would be like St. Thomas and Ineffabilis Deus. The Teaching of the Angelic Doctor and Ineffabilis Deus is by somebody named Norbert Del Prado. It's like over 300 pages long. Like it's and he exhaustively proves the slander against St. Thomas that he denied the Immaculate Conception's wrong. And it comes from misunderstandings of medieval embryology and a lot of these things. So yes, I will do that. I will pay $2,000 to debate him on this issue.
Yeah. Here guys, I wrote an entire like notes section / paper. It's like 13 pages long. I'll put it in the comments for you guys on why this is such a stupid claim.
True.
It's in the comments now. So you guys can have it. That let me make it so that anybody can see it. Anyone with link. Done. All right, there you guys go. Dude, good grief, we already have like 20 people in that document. Something's going to go wrong. Someone's going to figure out how to get editor access, and it's just going to be deleted in like 10
They're just going to delete the whole thing. All the enemies of St. Thomas will delete it.
Needgod.net's going to be present.
Okay, go ahead. Your turn.
All right. I'm Catholic because of Mary. That's awesome. That's super based. Fatima affirms the Catholic Church. I'm Catholic because my mom said so. Yeah, that's good, man.
True.
Descartes owns Thomism.
Okay, well, didn't Descartes believe in like the stupid stuff with the spirit and extension, and that's like the first principles of things, and yeah, that's just gay. Watch Jacob versus 10 Christians. James DMA cooked. I don't know what this mean.
Dude, James is my buddy. Dude, he's oh my gosh, he's so smart. Dude.
I get invited to these things, and I'm like, what's it going to be about? And they're like, here's the topic. And I'm like, I don't know. That sounds dumb, dude. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, James is one of the smartest Thomists I've ever met in my entire life. Have you spoken with him?
Is that the Divine Mercy Apologetics guy?
Yeah,
Then yes.
dude. Oh my goodness, very very special guy. Big fan of him. It's kind of hard to talk to him though because like I'm retarded compared to him. Maybe just in general, but like having a conversation with him, like I got to ask him to define all this stuff for me. It's pretty bad. That's why I sent you that one question about body and soul because I knew that if I asked him that, he would just give me like the craziest response of all time.
It's true. I see. I'm a simplifier, guys. Many do not believe this, but I am actually.
Yes,
I'm a
big.
popularizer.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh wait, it's not. Not even. It's okay. I'll cook you after. Proceed. Your turn.
Who are we
Proceed.
taking? Okay.
Proceed. Proceed.
All right. Joe did attribute. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. Joe did attribute his conversion to Ethan. Yes. Dyer ducked a debate with Ethan on Fatima, disproving Eastern Orthodoxy. Imagine not being able to defend your church with miracles. What is Christianity without miracles? Exactly.
True.
Super based.
Okay.
Oh, you're. All right, we have. You go for it.
Okay.
Man.
What do you think caused the bite of 87? What do you mean the bite of 87?
I don't know what the bite of 87 is either. I was hoping you would. Bite. Is this going to be porn?
It's a fictional event from the Five Nights at Freddy's horror game series. At Freddy Fazbear's Pizza Restaurant, an animatronic attacked a human victim. The attack caused the victim to lose the frontal lobe of their brain, although they somehow survived. Yeah, this makes a lot of sense. All the people in my live chat are this person who had their frontal lobe removed. Why do I have to suffer through these super chats? Dude, the bite of 87 happens on my entire live chat. It's crazy. Yeah. That was. I love you guys. Okay, that was a joke. Okay, but what's going on here? Pius XII's lawyer, Jesus and whatnot. Why are you calling Nick a fake Catholic?
Nick Fuentes?
Yes.
I'm not sure if I ever said he was a fake Catholic, but I will say you can take
certain Jewish.
You can, yeah.
You literally fit the mold. You walked into this one.
He offended my people, me mom and me dad. No. I'll say this. Nick is a very, very intelligent guy, very funny guy, very good debater, except for that one with Jay Dyer. But other than that, I'm pretty sure
he's cooked in that one.
Absolutely undefeated. Nick is extremely intelligent. I do not doubt that he's Catholic or that he holds to all the Catholic beliefs. But I do think that there is a certain extent in which he's doing a disfavor to Catholicism. I think he knows that a lot of the stuff he says gets clipped online and that he is somewhat of a representative of Catholicism. And when you're putting all these things out here without the context or, you're obviously saying things that are provocative, I think you can lead a lot of people into scandal about what the Catholic Church actually teaches. And that's why you have all these absolutely insufferable Gen Z groypers who are converting to Catholicism and then going around saying that Catholicism says we should kill every Jewish person in existence. It's like, this is pretty bad.
Well, they don't watch the show then. That's all I can say is they don't watch the show.
I agree. They should. Should they watch the show? That's its own question. But no, I think they should definitely take all the clips with a grain of salt. But Nick has to be a little bit more careful.
One day you'll come to understand. When you're older, you'll come to understand.
I'm sure I will.
I will not comment on this. I had to confront you about this. I had to confront it. It was somebody said this in my chat. I had to confront you about it.
I think my stance is pretty moderate. I mean, there are Catholics out there who would like excommunicate Nick Fuentes because he said the N-word one time, and I think that's ridiculous.
That's obviously stupid. Yeah, there are so many other things I would say online that I don't really think are bad things to say online, but I know that there are people who it would damage my ability to talk to certain people about things that I find to be important in my own, vocation, I guess, speaking very loosely, my own role, I guess you could say, in a representative of whatever I'm supposed to represent. He's just sort of in the politics sphere. It's just sort of a different thing.
I agree.
Totally different thing. And I think he uses the Catholicism tastefully in many ways to try to introduce it to people that otherwise would not be open to hearing about religious topics. And I think he's shown a lot of efficacy. I actually don't think a lot of people give him enough credit as, it's sort of a weird way of thinking about Nick Fuentes, but, as an evangelist for the Catholic Church. So a lot of these people, they don't sort of stay at the level of, whatever Nick happened to say about theology. He makes it pretty clear that that's not sort of his thing. A lot of them will eventually, go over into the sort of other channels. They'll go and throw a CIA, or they'll watch other people that are meant to discuss theology or whatever else. But I think there has to be credit where credit is due, despite you might not like what he said at this point or that point. There is something there that I think that is it's foolish that a lot of the Catholic establishment has not taken adequate consideration of. I guess that's what I would say about it.
This feels like the you made a video. It was responding to Cleave to Antiquity and that one other Catholic dude. Their tier list of like Catholic apologists, and then they mentioned me, and you're like, I'm going to debate that kid. I'm going to go on his stream. I'm going to debate him. And this is what that feels like. You're trying to debate on Nick Fuentes. That'd be awesome. We should do that. Formal debate. Wagner comes out of retirement. Is Nick Fuentes based? I'll do it, man.
I'm not debating you on that. Dude, this is like Lindsay Clancy. I'm about to get some postpartum rage. I'm about to get some postpartum murderous thoughts to debate you on this.
All right.
Now I'm looking at my live chat and I'm having murderous thoughts.
All right, Big Wagner and Noah Poo Poo. Remember me, Noah Poo Poo? Should I become Dominican or Franciscan?
Stop being a LARPer.
Jesuit. Final answer.
Okay, you're real for that. You're real for this. The young men, guys, I'm serious, become Jesuits. I'm serious about this.
Yeah, there you go.
The number of the Jesuits, they are crashing. You can take back the order. St. Ignatius will be praying for you at all moments. If you have a firm intention in your heart to work towards the greater glory of God and the benefit of his company, right? His company of Jesus, then his society, right? Society of Jesus, then he will be praying for you so much. He'll be praying for you super, like a bunch. And imagine the amount of graces that come through just that good intention. And this eminent saint who cares so much for his own society, and it's been destroyed in so many ways. So I'm serious. Jesuit, good choice. It is a really good choice. Probably will get you to heaven. Okay, this always my vey. Okay, thank you. Anyway, I don't know why my side is so brain rot.
Yeah, I don't. Hey, man, last time it was me. We were talking about micro penises for 30 minutes, so I'm glad that at least it's kind of your fault this time. Hey, Jaw, it was a lifelong non-denominational, recently confirmed Catholic. Still work at Old Church. Feel like I'm a good Catholic witness there. I don't miss Mass. Do I leave? What do you mean you work at the Old Church? You can mean a lot.
Yeah, what do you mean you work for the Old Church? Are you like working in their like coffee bar, or are you like the assistant pastor? Like those are very different things.
Yeah, if you're like a janitor at the church, that's super base. That can be good because you can also just like slowly take away all of their people. Like just like,
dude, did you accidentally do this from your like official church account? It's over.
Oh dang, maybe he is the coffee guy. He's the Crossroads Coffee Co.
True, you're gonna get exposed right now. I guess if everybody knows, owner.
Yeah.
Dude, Christian nationalist, so true. Okay. Liking all of his videos on Instagram. Okay.
What's happening? Who?
Dude, I'm stalking this guy right now.
The guy that asked the question?
Wait, sorry, what do you say?
This guy, the one that asked the question?
Yeah, I'm stalking him right now. I just copied and pasted his because he used his official account, so I can see all of his other accounts now.
What does he do? What is his job here? Can you tell?
I'm assuming he's just the coffee guy.
Yeah, I would say
Not just the coffee guy. You are that person. Okay?
The Catholic.
You are not just the coffee guy. The person who brings the coffee does a great service to the world. Remember this. You are not just the coffee guy. You are the coffee guy. Okay.
Can you imagine
feel good about yourself, about
bar?
this world.
Can we take a second to think about how insane that is? That's like somewhat normal for a church to have a coffee bar.
It's kind of weird. I will say this.
That's ridiculous.
I mean, if there was no such thing, if I didn't believe in the Eucharist, and it was just kind of like I went to church to like listen to the music and hear the preaching, like I could use a coffee like during the service. It's like the only reason I would say this would be stupid in a Catholic church is like we have the Eucharistic fast and I'm like in the sanctuary. Like I would never eat or drink there. But if I just kind of didn't believe these things, it just kind of makes sense. Like,
I mean, makes sense.
Get a little snack, get a little snack in, get a little coffee in. It's, Sunday morning. You don't have to make your coffee before you leave. You just get up, roll out of bed, throw on your sweats and jeans and kind of get on with life.
Fun fact. Before I was, Presbyterian for the little bit that I was Presbyterian, I was non-denominational. I went to a mega church for a couple months. And they had this like snack, like this whole cafe built like right outside of like their stadium. And I would like, this was like a regular thing to do, but you would have this paper plate with your donut and your coffee, and then they would hand you the little plastic communion cup, and then you would put it on your paper plate next to your food, and then you would just like eat off of it. And when they did communion, you would like unwrap it and eat it like just with the rest of your food.
I've actually never been to like a mega church before, because I when I was in middle school and high school, my family went to a non-denominational church, so I kind of get the vibe, but I never actually went to like a mega church with like thousands of people. I didn't grow up in like a hellish area where that was even possible.
How about we do it? How about one of these days, like a year down the road, we'll do an in-person live stream of going to a mega church, and then at the end we can just stand up and we can rebuke everything. Like,
true, it'll be awesome.
Yeah.
No, I think what we need to do is in-person debates with the pastors. Start like finding the overzealous pastors and then debating them, and like inviting the congregation out. That'd be epic. It's like what they used to do in like the Reformed world, where you just have random Catholic like Gonet, like some random Calvinist pastor was like, "You're stupid and wrong, and I'm going to debate you." And he was like, "Yeah, let's go." And he debated him, and of course he's like Jean-Baptiste Gonet, so he had everything in the world memorized. So this pastor like falsely quoted a section from St. Augustine. He's like, "I just read that the other day. This is actually what it says." Quotes it from memory. "You're actually making this up." He's like humiliated in front of everybody, and then everybody converted.
Yeah, something.
And everybody clapped.
I want to do a video. It would be an absolute like gem, debating my old Presbyterian pastor, like, and then just brutalizing him, because I'm like personal friends with a lot of the people that go to his ecclesial community still, and so it'd be super based to just like.
I'd just feel bad about that. I'd feel bad about it, because I know these people. I know these people. They gave me a lot of very wayward sort of guidance, but at least some sort of guidance, and actually cared for me back in the day. At least I have a more positive relationship, I guess, with at least where I was at, in like my childhood. So I wouldn't want to like crush and destroy. Like, sure, there's people I know from the past who like crushing and destroying might be cool, but like not any of my old pastors now.
Yeah, no, I think I would really enjoy it, to be completely honest, because a lot of
is he like a jerk or something?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that. He's actually a really, really nice dude. I'll give him that. He's super, super kind. But a lot of his sermons lately, because my family still goes to his ecclesial community.
Oh, really? They're not at like the synagogue or anything?
Oh, good one. Thank you. That was very clever, Wagner. Yeah, no, but they still go there. And like sometimes my parents will come home and they're just like, the entire sermon was about like how wrong Catholicism was. And I was like, what are we doing here? So I would love to just have like a bloodbath.
I mean, that's the issue, is like we are the main character. Like, we act, they react. They seethe.
Yeah.
Okay. Next super chat. Never mind, you answered my question. Okay, now your turn.
Awesome, man. What do you think about the Rogaroo? Do you know what that is? I'm uneducated. If that's
No.
no, let's look it up. Please don't be porn. It's a legendary shape-shifting wolf-like monster from Cahoon and Creole folklore in Louisiana.
I don't know. I'm not from the South. I'm from Maryland.
I'd say it looks
I
made
didn't
up.
I didn't I didn't grow I was gonna rage bait some Southerners, but decided against it.
Good one. I'm glad that we at least sided on that. Because the other one, you're like, I'm not going to say it, and then you just said the whole thing. How do you defend icon veneration, ante-Nicene Christianity? YT brings a lot of the fathers and shows how they said it was idol worship, and Catholic doctrine now idol worshippers makes me doubt it. Maybe convo. I mean,
It's important to remember what the context of all those statements were when they were writing. A lot of these were apologists who were writing against pagans and correcting, pagan claims against Christianity. So when they are, mocking a pagan for, their sacrifices, or mocking a pagan for their idols, or mocking a pagan for whatever else, it doesn't mean that, like, at least materially similar things weren't going on, in Christianity. Like, I'll give you an example. If I was making fun of, like, Buddhist monks for chanting, and I'm like, oh, that's so stupid, it looks so dumb, I wouldn't be like dissing Gregorian chant. Like, that would be a dumb conclusion to draw from mine. So, like, contextually, a lot of them are, they're talking against certain practices that aren't at all identical with, Catholic practices, and it doesn't even mean necessarily that materially similar practices weren't going on within the church at the time. And yeah, I guess that would be what I would say to that.
yeah. I mean, if you want like the basic like pop apologist answer, like we obviously see all throughout the Old Testament, like God affirms and commands, reverence being shown towards images. Like we have the Ark of the Covenant. There's golden statues that God literally commands to be created on top of the Ark of the Covenant. Solomon's temples has carvings and God dwells there. There's the bronze serpent from Moses. All of these creations of statues and different images. So, obviously using, the second commandment or first commandment, whichever one, it doesn't really work because, that they kind of uses like this blanket statement, like don't have any images ever. That's wrong. But the distinction that's drawn by us is just that like don't worship the images, and we don't worship the images. So there's not even really a scriptural argument that you can use logically that would even follow like, hey, you can't show reverence to images. And the way that you can show that like your instincts actually back this up, like Christian instincts, is just have a picture of Jesus and go up to any of those like Orthodox guys, or you just take a crucifix to them and tell like the not Orthodox, like Baptist, like
Iconoclasts, yeah.
yeah, go up to them and be like, hey, I want you to spit on this crucifix, or I want you to step on this crucifix. And they won't do it because they know that you have to show some sign of reverence to these images of Christ. And so, like, why not show real reverence, positive reverence, instead of just, not doing bad things to it? Why can't you kiss the image of Christ? It's literally a representation of your God. So,
true. There's a sort of like intuitive Christian sense about a lot of this stuff that, it's like it's not necessarily a demonstration of the thing in itself, but it shows how like congruous it is with human nature. It's like, even like, for example, flag burning should be illegal. Like, you shouldn't be able to burn. Like, this is reverence, which is shown to the political order and the goods of the political order. This is something fundamental to society. If you remove that, then you're not able to even, like, we're not even able to have a society in the first place. Therefore, to do that should be illegal, should be against the law. Same with blasphemy. Blasphemy should be against the law. These are things which strike at the very foundation of society. And obviously when it comes to the sort of negative of that is like, if this sort of disreverence should be illegal, should be criminalized, should be removed far from us, or at least even one should be able to say that it's immoral, the contrary is going to apply as well. Like, it shows some sort of like understanding that there is an obligation that is present there to reverence, right? It's very congruous with human nature. Like, somebody would have to like be convinced out of this in order to not think that this is just like totally cool, normal, and like what we should be doing, and not in a way of like this proceeds from the trickery of the demons and proceeds from demonic influence
Yeah.
or original sin or any of those other principles that are universal in mankind. That wouldn't even make any sense.
Over under 20J tweets responding to the stream. I haven't seen anything from Cleve. I've been refreshing throughout the stream. He hasn't posted.
Dude,
anything.
He lives rent free in your head. You're thinking about him all the time. Think about him the whole stream.
I don't know about that. I think it's just because I think it'd be funny if he posted. But yeah, neither of them have done anything about it.
True. They tend to ignore me, actually. That's actually it's a funny thing, is they will like constantly mention dudes with like, I don't know, 4,000 followers. Like they'll crash out about dudes with 4,000 followers. Most of like the Orthodox world, they kind of just stay quiet about me. Like they just let me do my thing and they don't really talk about me that much. So I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't. They just like leave me alone. They're just like, I have such respect for Wagner. I have such respect for him. He's a best Catholic apologist. Therefore, I'm not even going to talk. I'm not even going to talk about him. This is probably the reason. I firmly believe this. I'm joking, by the way. We all know the reason. But anyways, Wagner, any response to the accusations that you buy fish at the market to take the pictures at the lake with? Can you fish? Yes, I can fish. These are false claims. Okay.
What do you think of Duns Scotus and Bonaventure?
I like Blessed Scotus and Saint Bonaventure.
I like him too. Scotus is a goofball on the Filioque, though.
I know.
He's a real goofball. I was reading that. I was like, what are we doing, man? This is real. This is really bad.
The Thomists were right about the necessity of the Filioque to distinguish the persons. Yeah. And his readings of the fathers and the councils don't even make sense. They're just like, they must be distinguished by relation. He's like, well, that just means that they're like different relations, not that they're like opposed to one another.
Yeah, I was reading Cajetan, his commentary on it, and then he starts talking about Scotus's position. I was like, there's no way this is true. There's no way this is actually a stance that he took. And then I read it. I was like, good grief, this is pretty bad.
Basically, yeah. Any Thomist kind of has like fun with this one and just writes 6 billion pages every time they get to this part in their cursus against the Scotus. And it's kind of always a funny read.
Yeah.
But I like them. I like Blessed Scotus and St. Bonaventure. You have to remember the Scholastics agree on, out of 1,000 things, the Scholastics agree on 999 and disagree on 1. And their disagreement is like, and 90% of those times is like, I think the other position is less probable than my position, but it's still kind of probable. Like they're very rarely actually like, this other guy, he's like a stupid idiot and his position's awful. Like they almost never say stuff like that about each other.
Hello, you're a big reason as to why I'm thinking of becoming Catholic. My question is, why do we pray to saints instead of God for everything? I mean, I have videos on this. Wagner has really good videos on this, so that would be like the first thing. We won't be able to answer this in depth. And again, I can probably give you more of like a pop apologist answer. But God uses the prayers of his people to further the self-glorification of the eternal goodness. And so we are, just as we are called to, intercede for one another, the saints also intercede for us while they are in heaven because they perfectly fulfill God's commandments. Hebrews 11, Hebrews 12, they tell us that the saints observe us like a cloud of witnesses. Ephesians 1 tells us that Christ binds all things together in heaven and on earth. And so there's really no point that you can make to draw a separation between the body of Christ. Like that's just a ridiculous thing to do, to try and say that God, for some reason, separated the church in heaven from the church on earth, because we have one body of Christ. We have one church, and it actually falls into like this weird Nestorian like heresy trying to say that there is a separation between heaven and earth. It's a denial of like literally like the basics of the gospel. So yeah, read Revelation 5:8, Revelation 8:3, Hebrews, the end of Hebrews 11, beginning of Hebrews 12, Ephesians 1. They're all pretty clear.
True. How do we reconcile recent scientific findings that alcohol consumed in any amount is unhealthy in Catholic teaching on the good of alcohol? You're not drinking it for health. I guess that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's probably there's probably a lot of things in our lives that are like being around women. That is very unhealthy. It's true. It's true.
It is. No, dude, it
If
makes
you look at a priest, a celibate man in his 50s. Look at a father and husband in his 50s. Tell me which lifestyle is healthier. Celibacy is far more healthy. Everybody's recognized this for a very long time. Is getting married, that's just like you're 1 foot in the grave. You know, your sickness and health, life and death, like that's legit because you are going to be more sick and you are dying faster. Yeah. It's like slow death. But you're not doing it to extend your life or to choose the more healthy option.
Yeah, why are we doing it? What's the purpose of marriage?
Two purposes. The primary end is the procreation and education of children. Secondary end is as a remedy for concupiscence, so you don't fall into mortal sin.
There you go. Keep that in mind, guys.
First one's in virtue of nature. The second one's in virtue of the fall.
There you go. Don't forget it.
True. Never forget. Okay. It's your guys' turn.
Dude, take a look at this comment.
I am Family Guy Lover 89. Please, Noah, I am Family Guy Lover 89. Can you do your famous catchphrase, yippee, yippee, top, yop? Please, Family Guy Lover 89. I am why, please. I am Family Guy Lover 89. True. I agree with this.
Yippee, yippee, top, yop. As I famously say. Thank you for the enormous super chat. I'm glad that you spent $20 on that instead of giving it to a homeless person. That was very worth it.
Dude, my dad's mogging in the family group chat. Oh, goodness.
What are you doing?
Dude, my mom, new favorite statement: women make up half the world, but give birth to all of it. Dwell on that. And then my sister, who runs the world and does like the TikTok girl like fingernail thing. My dad replies, weaker vessel.
Dang. Super base.
Patriot.
What is that?
Patriot.
1 Peter 3. Super base take.
True. There's another thing is like if I told you everything I knew about women, it would stupefy the world.
There you go. All right, you're up.
Can I pray in Latin even if I don't speak it? Yes. Does Summa Theologiae Prima Pars question 21 Article 4 reply to the second objection apply to Noah? Yes. Okay. Dang, this is a quick one. Okay. Your turn.
Help me out. I don't have that specific passage locked away.
I got rid of the chat thing already, and I don't remember what it was.
Oh, all right. Okay, guys, speaking of Jewish people, though, I'm about to do the most Jewish thing of all time. I have too many super chats to answer all of them, so I'm only going to be answering the ones above $20, which is...
So he's saying super chat again for over $20 so you can answer all of your questions?
No, just know that I probably won't answer it because we've been streaming for 2.5 hours, which is insane.
True. That's why I was checking my phone. I was seeing whether I've been abandoned tonight or not.
Noah, I will accept your request to debate me. Dude, this Family Guy Lover 89. Noah, I love you. Please say your famous catchphrase. I already did.
Dude, this guy's dumping like. Okay, I'm not. This is fake. Okay, I'm not. Look. Hairline same as what it was.
Well, let's see the corners here.
What do you mean the corners?
The corners.
Fine. It's fine. Same as what it was. Same as what it's always been. No, I'm not.
I don't know, Wagner. We might need a little bit of a tonsure sometimes soon.
This is fake news. No, I'm not balding. Okay, this is a lie.
I mean, you definitely had some recession there, and that's okay.
No. I've definitely not.
Natural. It's natural.
No, it's definitely not. It's not happening. It's not happening.
It's good, man.
It's not happening. I showed you the whole hairline. That's how it's.
Your hand's covering it. You got to pull it back.
No. I look. Look, that's not balding. That's
can we see like maybe like a little one of these?
No, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to subject myself to your guys' intrusions into my hairline.
All right, man.
I'm not. It's just the truth. Dude, but I tell you, if I was, Like people are making fun of the people for using the balding medicine. Dude, I would use crap ton of that stuff. I don't care. I would go to like Harvard trained best doctor in world, pay $1 billion to take whatever medicine he says to not bald.
Balding would be pretty rough.
It would be.
What about, is your mom's dad bald?
He's dead.
So definitely bald.
Come on. I get asked that question every time. Every time the balding question comes up, it's like, is your mom's dad bald? I said he's dead. So definitely. Okay. Which formulation is stronger on the contingency argument? St. Thomas. Okay. Man, these are easy. These are easy questions they're asking me. They're asking you the hard ones.
EO here, but for various reasons, I do prefer watching you, Noah, over Dyer. Dude, clip it. Send it to Jay. Send it to him. Super base. Keeping the focus on true love, compassion, prayer, and the apostolic faith. Would you ever consider the monastic vocation or ordination? Yeah, I mean, of course, I'm actively discerning that, but you never know what it's going to lead to. I think being a monk would be so based. I want to be. Have you ever read up on the Carthusians? Dude,
I have. Yeah.
They wear these horsehair robes so that like they're as uncomfortable as possible all the time. It's super tough. I would love to do that. They just get to write all day and garden. I think that'd be really nice.
True. Just sit in silence and do nothing.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Can you explain limbo of the infants in detail? Yeah. You need grace to go to heaven. The only ordinary means for infants to get grace is through baptism. Unbaptized babies, they have not committed actual sin, only have original sin, and therefore they don't deserve the positive infliction of what's called the pain of sense, like fire and worm and stuff like that. So it kind of leads us to conclude that they are neither in heaven nor in hell do they have the pain of sense. They only just have the loss of heaven. That's like the most concise way, I guess.
Yeah. Augustine would say though that they have the point of sensus and the point of domini, which is, you know.
I don't comment on this question because the angelic master has said that they do not have the pain of sense, so I will not comment on it.
There you go. Why are you ignoring my super?
Dude, what is with this guy?
This guy, bro. Who is this? This is insane. Well, thank you for the super chats, man. I do appreciate it.
How would you handle realism versus idealism, nominalism, etc.? I don't even know what this question is supposed to mean. Okay.
Say it again. What was it?
Oh, I already took it away. So I don't. It was just like, how do you handle X, Y, Z, and then names like I? How do you handle Thomism, Scotism? How do you handle Eastern Orthodoxy, Catholic? Like it's you're just naming like you're not asking me a question about what do you think about this doctrine or what do you think about this argument for this doctrine or what do you think about it's just like such a general question. There's not really anything I can do about it.
Fair enough. From Jaw to Jew. Never gift your favorite YouTubers. I'll do the $10 ones too, since I guess I'm through the $20 ones. I'll go down to your guys' level. I'll walk amongst the peasants for this stream. Seeing Joe, someone who I followed as I could learn a lot from him, even if we disagreed about the atheist snark. It was very smart to see him come home and revert was huge. Yes, it's super based. Shout out Joe.
Wagner, what do you think about John versus Parker? That's the debate you had the other day, right?
Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
I don't watch debates. So.
Don't watch it. It's a huge waste of time. I like genuinely entire debate summed up. I run, St. Thomas's second way, and then he brings up infinite regress, and I'm like, that's stupid. And then he's like, but what's the logical contradiction? And I'm like, do you affirm my first principles? And then he's like, I don't have to even talk about your first principles. And I'm like, do you affirm the principle of sufficient reason? And he's like, I don't accept it. And I'm like, this is stupid.
So you really just did infinite regress. Wow.
Yeah.
He was real for that.
I should have. There was
True
one
Aristotelian. He's a true Aristotelian Chad, actually.
Yeah.
If you
No,
know this.
I wanted to talk to him about there's this cool argument against infinite regress that I learned from some other Thomist. I don't think he wants me to say his name. But it was kind of cool against infinite regress. He was like, if we can view like each chain of causality as like a certain percentage, like 50% chance that this cause happens, and then you have an infinite amount of it, we can say that the chances of your causal chain being infinite is infinitely improbable, and therefore your infinite chain is just like the stupidest thing of all time. I thought that was a pretty unique way to address it, but I didn't.
True. Because they combine together
Yeah.
to zero.
Mm-hmm.
Fish tank looks unusually clean today. AI slop tank. No, it's just we're entering a new time. We're entering a new time in my live streaming. I will have the best tank ever. It'll be very clean. It'll have the best species. Everybody's gonna love it.
Hi, couple of questions. Why are angels masculine, not feminine, or neither? Dude, angelology is
Gender exists in the body, and angels don't have bodies.
Yeah, angels are
Your
just
soul. Your soul doesn't even have gender technically.
There you go. Have you guys ever been consecrated to a saint or a special devotion? If so, what would you recommend? Any advice for HSer? What Holy Spiriter? What
High schooler, I'm assuming.
Okay.
If you're in high school, stop watching short form content. That's my advice. You're rotting your brain.
Yeah. Devotion wise, I've never been like officially consecrated, but like I do devotions. Like I run a bunch of novenas. The best ones, like the most spiritually fruitful ones from my experience that I've done, devotions, novenas to Saint Thomas and Saint Therese of Lisieux. Very, very based stuff.
True.
Yeah. Hey, dude, if you're a gooner, that's not why I did it, but if you're a gooner,
it works really well if you're a gooner.
No, dude, if you're a gooner, Saint Therese of Lisieux, oh my goodness, very, very, very base stuff.
Christian, how do we affirm the reality of the episcopacy? Clement mentions 2 offices, but Ignatius mentions 3 since you were ex-Presbyterian. Well, I mean, the way at least I've seen it sort of adjudicated is the fact that, you know, there is a closer relationship between the priesthood and the episcopate than there is between like the diaconate and the priesthood, or between the minor orders and each other, or the major orders. So it's pretty normal for us to speak of like the 2 under one name, without like commenting explicitly over whether there is 1 order or 2 orders. Like, I guess to give an analogy, what would be a good analogy for this? Oh yeah, I guess a good analogy of this would be like if we spoke about, you know, Congress or the legislature, might be a better way. If we speak about like the legislature, I'm not commenting on whether there's like a unicameral or a bicameral system, whether we have a House and a Senate. You know, I'm not commenting on whether there's like distinctions within this. I'm just like sort of giving a general name for 2 that are combined with one another. So like it makes sense to keep both the episcopacy and the priesthood and to name both of them priest or elder. Like that makes a lot of sense. We see the same sort of naming convention in the Old Testament where we have the threefold order, which is present there between the, you know, the priest and the high priest. They'll sometimes just be under the name of priest. So I guess that's the way I would go about it. But it's also just kind of like the historical aspect of other witnesses are, in my mind, like the strongest points to convince.
Yeah. Super based quote. You can read this on your own time. Look into it. Super based, kind of pertaining to that. But there's also, you know, you can argue directly from the offices using scripture. Like you can look at how Paul treats Timothy. Obviously, Timothy was ordered. He was an overseer, but then he has, you know, he then gets told to then go oversee different deacons of his local church. So there you have a laity, deacon, priest, and then what does that make Paul? what is Paul doing? Well, he's being a form of a bishop. There's a hierarchy there. Have you seen Professor Plink's response to your guitar pick first cause video? He argues for naturalism, referencing Hume, Kant, and Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking, like that. How was he on Epstein's island if he was like physically disabled?
Yeah, I've kind of wondered that. Like, what exactly?
Like, what was he doing? I don't want to know.
Yeah, I'm sure it's disgusting. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do an impression. Yeah, no, I've been told that I need to see the video. But again, like using first cause arguments, like sure, these guys can just be idiots and say certain stuff. Maybe I'll watch it. I don't know. I don't feel like watching a bunch of atheists, like Reddit atheist slop. Like if you're quoting Stephen Hawking, like respectfully, I don't really trust your like that's like referring to Neil deGrasse Tyson for like arguments against God's existence. It's just like this. It just upsets me. It's like, oh, if God is good, then why do bad things happen? I can't stand that type of argument.
Dude, I cannot. He's never even done a video against me. Sad.
Professor Plink.
Yeah, I don't even know this guy. I'm just looking him up.
I've never heard of him either. I'm pretty sure it's one of those faceless accounts where it's just like
family group chat. They keep texting in there. I got to tell them I'm live streaming. Please stop. Just, this is since they want to talk about the supremacy of women in this group chat. I will do the woman thing, and I will tell them all to change all of their behavior just so I don't have to do something that I don't want to do, which is to click mute on the family group chat. It's like it's a feminine trait. Women do this very often. Your thoughts on Joe Schmidt's conversion? We already covered that earlier, but awesome. It's very nice. It's very good.
Alex O'Connor is next. Just you guys wait.
It'll be total Catholic victory is incoming. You guys don't even understand what's coming next. You don't understand what we have planned behind the scenes.
Dude, we need another Father Gregory Pine conversation with Alex O'Connor. You could tell that they were getting close.
Do you still endorse Mormon soaking? Funny. I didn't mean it. Sorry, take me back. Okay, I went through like 4 super chats because none of them were of any substance.
Yeah,
so you can choose your goyim.
Just wanted to know your thoughts on Bishop Barron.
I think he's got a lot of good stuff. I think he says some stuff I don't like, and it's basically what I think about basically everybody on the internet.
Dude, that conversation with Ben Shapiro almost made me.
The conversation with Ben Shapiro and the conversation with like that gay Jew.
Yeah.
What's that gay Jew's name?
Ben Shapiro?
Richard Ackman. No. I'm joking. That was a joke. The gay Jew that he had on his show, like the conservative pundit. He's actual homosexual. I literally did a video on this, and I cannot remember the guy's name. It's funny, but
it's bad.
There's some pretty, but it's like honestly, people like don't care about Bishop Barron's political takes that much.
I'm
my opinion. Most people are like watching his, like good stuff, I guess.
Yeah, he did a good series on the Mass, but no, the comment about even atheists of goodwill can make it to heaven.
Yeah,
that's
I don't know. I just believe the Bible.
Yeah. What is it? Hebrews 11:6? 6,
yeah.
11? Yeah, one of those two. Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
I can't know that I just get all my.
In order to approach
Wagner.
God, you have to believe that He is and rewards those who are just.
Yeah.
Seems pretty clear to me.
I'm not allowed to quote that though. Jay Dyer will accuse me of sourcing everything from Wagner.
True.
That's something I haven't shown to anyone. I would love to just send you a screenshot of those messages. It's the funniest thing in the entire world. He's like, have you read the Psalm of the Trincy's Fathers? And I'm like, yeah, I've read a little bit of it. Not all of it.
Read all 20 volumes of the Cursus Theologicus.
And then he's like, how did you even read it? And I was like, well, I don't have any translations on me, but if you want translations, I think Wagner has some. You could ask him. And then he's like, so you just get all of your arguments from Wagner? And I was like, dude, like, really upsetting stuff. I love you, Jay, though.
Yeah, some like uber autist on Discord decided to put in like these volumes are like double column, 1,000-page long, and he put in like the first 10 volumes into like Claude or something to translate. It's kind of funny.
That's awesome. Actually, that's super based. Do you have English translations?
To what?
Any of it? I struggle to find anything.
I mean, like on a few Discord servers, there'll be like translations that are collected, but no, not really. Like there hasn't been a super systematic effort to collect AI translations and stuff.
Dang, there needs to be.
Sorry for rashly accusing you of grave sin on X a while back, Wag. It's okay. It's fine. I forgive you.
Dang. Thoughts on gambling in moderation once in a while? I mean, you saw the X post. No gambling, no smiling, no dancing, no music.
I do gamble, actually.
Yeah. I can't let myself gamble.
There's, it's like not really before I moved to North Dakota, but in North Dakota, like gambling is very popular. Like you go to any bar, like you just go to any bar in town, they have a blackjack table. And they let you do $2 bets. So like you put in $20, you sit there, hang out with a friend and just play blackjack. You might make some money, you might lose it all, but it's like $20. Who cares?
Yeah. No, I think where I don't gamble anymore unless it's like poker. But I think where you draw the line is like you can view it as paying to have a fun experience. Like, oh, I'm paying the $20 to have this fun experience of gambling. I think that's fine. But if you start doing it and you're like, oh, I'm going to get rich off of this, or like, oh, this is going to be like, I'm going to make money from this. This is going to be, I think then you've kind of lost the plot a little bit and you shouldn't trust yourself.
Agreed.
Here's $20. Read my other super chats or else I'm going to sick the Rougarou on you. Okay.
Oh, I hate when people do that when they say, can you read my other super chat? And they don't actually like repeat what they said in that other super chat. So you have to sit there and watch.
Dude. Yeah. I had this one guy. He sent probably like $50 in total just telling me to find this one super chat. I crashed out. I was like, no, like he kept sending $5 super chats. He's like, dude, just go find it. Like spend some time. Like I already paid the money. I'm like, dude, you're spending more money. Go read just. Oh my goodness, it's getting me riled up just thinking about it.
The Rougarou is specifically known for killing Catholics who don't obey the rules of Lent.
Oh, we should bring that
back. What about
back.
Friday abstinence rules?
Actually, no, we probably shouldn't bring that back because they'll all go to hell.
just get like murked on the stream by like a demonic beast, dragged straight to hell because you actually ate a Wendy's double cheeseburger. This is like what the Protestants say we believe. And honestly, it's kind of not entirely off, I guess.
Yeah, no, you guys follow your penance. I guess this is somewhat hypocritical, but yeah, you got to do it. Do Friday penance. Do your Lenten penance.
Okay, I have just been texted. I have 15 minutes.
15 minutes. Is that the old ball and chain letting you know?
No, dude, I wouldn't listen to her.
Classic.
She says you have 15 minutes until you stop streaming. What is she gonna do? Like, but my friends, on the other hand, they tell me I have 15 minutes. I will be getting off the stream. But
oh, dude, this is a based comment. How about that? You guys in Duong helped me come to the realization that Eastern Orthodox is false, now confirmed as Catholic in 2026. I mean, how about that?
That's awesome. Okay, I guess since we only have 15 minutes, we should just, dude, please read my super chats. Okay, somebody said please, so I will use his. Which one is his? Tell Jewish and whatnot to answer my $6.99 dono.
Dude, oh my gosh, is this?
He's coming to mind to send them now.
Guys, this is gonna make me quit all content. This is what's his name?
You missed my other super chat about Miaphysites. What did you ask about Miaphysites? Like book recommendations? I actually have in my notes. I wish that I had my notes right there. One time I actually did collect a bunch of the treatments from scholastics on Miaphysitism. And then kind of just forgot ever to follow through with like making a like bibliography about it. But I actually do have a bibliography that's incomplete somewhere in my notes.
When will you guys submit to the doctor of the church, J, peace be upon him, and cleave to antiquity, extraordinary magisterium, repent?
This is like rope fuel right here. It's crazy.
Now Christian is talking about the Jews. You're my second favorite Wagner. There you go, man.
The initial Wagner. Are you on the Nietzsche versus Wagner fight? Which side do you land on? You're like a Nietzschean or you're a Wagnerite?
I'm not very well educated on the personal disputes of Nietzsche. I've read The Gay Science, and I surprisingly, right?
It's just such a funny title. I love it.
It is very. It lines up quite well, I would say, with the people who are really big fans of it. But no, I actually have this. Look at this. This is gonna make a bunch of people upset. I have this huge collection of Nietzsche, and I just really haven't read a lot of it. Once you start reading the Scholastics, you kind of just lose all interest in like what these random atheists have to say.
Nah, because once you read Nietzsche as a critic of like contemporary pietistic Lutheranism, and which, in some ways connects him with a lot of the ways in which like modern Catholic devotional life expresses itself, and also a lot of like evangelical understandings of society and the church and the role of religion in society. Once you kind of read him in that lens, some of his takes are actually really good. Like some of what he says about the Christians, if you kind of just restrict it to like these type of Christians that don't actually, that do actually use basically like religion as sort of like an opium for, sucking and being losers. And I don't mean that in like a pretentious way, but sucking and being losers as in like you don't actually understand the call of the gospel towards the restoration of all things, but you think that, the gospel is sort of an excuse for, you not to do anything and be lazy and suck and, be able to do whatever you feel like and not have to care about anything and et cetera, et cetera. That's like kind of what a lot of his main critiques were. And he was actually hitting on a lot in certain groups in Christianity. I actually kind of like it's sort of like a cathartic read. Nietzsche's a cathartic read. Anyways.
Christian Wagner comes on here wearing a suit and starts talking about Foyden being red-pilled on Israel. Is this a Nick Fuentes cosplay? Hey, man,
maybe Nick Fuentes is Christian Wagner cosplaying.
Ooh, there you go. I've
been doing this forever. Okay, so
don't doing it for a long time too, though. He might have been doing it for longer than you.
Yeah,
his show's old. So
I've heard he's been doing this for like 10 years.
You just need some cockroaches in your studio now, and you'll be all set.
True, like I'm in Chicago.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm trying to find something that isn't Cole. Should use the Talmud to prove intercession of the saints. I don't know. I guess if you wanted to like prove that this is, I don't know, like asking, should I use the Talmud to prove anything is like asking, should I use modern philosophy or should I use American law to prove something? It's like, these are very broad concepts with a lot of different works covering a lot of different topics with a lot of different authors from a lot of different eras. And it's like asking, like, should I use the church fathers for this or that? Or ancient Christian authors for this or that might be a better comparison. It's like it's not a sufficiently precise question, because the Talmud might be containing something that's actually like Second Temple Judaic practice. And obviously with this, it would be super important. Or it could be containing some random like 8th century Jewish practice that we don't really care about. It's like an insufficiently precise question.
Yeah. It's like what's the one story where they're like, God comes down, he starts arguing with the Jews, and then the Jews like beat him in a debate, and then like God goes back to heaven like all sad about it.
Oh yeah, my children have what did they say? My children have, these are your people, by the way. My children have conquered me or something stupid like that. You never
Yeah.
should have told me this because now it's over for you.
Hey man, no, we can do more streams now, and like it can just be like a running joke that I'm Jewish, and you could be like, we could do like a cosplay, like I could be.
What? No, you're like, oh, dude, we could do a cosplay. You could like wear an SS officer uniform during the live stream. It'll be fun.
I'll wear some striped pajamas, and you can wear like a really cool like lightning bolt suit.
Oh, it's over.
Yeah.
No, it's actually not over. Kind of realize how far we've come in the discourse. It's not over. We can make jokes about things like this now. Nobody cares.
Especially because I'm Jewish, so
You have a pass.
I have a real pass, and I think I can give you the pass as well.
You give me the pass.
Yeah, I give you the pass for everything except for hard K.
Can you give? I was going to ask if you could give Hitler the pass, but I guess it's a little late for that.
I think it's like giving like a slave owner the end pass. Like
it's like total power. It's too much power. The power levels are too high on this one.
Yeah.
They're like, you could do anything. You could do anything. I swear. I'll give you the pass. And then the Holocaust happens. It's all your fault.
Yeah.
You didn't think that one through, did you?
The mass is only valid in Hebrew, by the way. I sincerely apologize for asking you to find my super chats and read them without repeating all of them. Please forgive my ignorance to your feelings and having to do that. I will be going to confession to atone for my misdeeds. Yeah,
thank you.
I can't grant you absolution for what you just did. So I hope that you can make your way to confession before death.
Can Jesus and whatnot state for the record he doesn't use Grok for debates?
I don't use any AI for debates. Like this upsets me so much. It's like
Dude, crash out.
I mean, I made a 20-minute video showing proof that I had notes on literally everything me and Jay talked about dated before our conversation. Like I literally showed all my sources, all of my notes on the topic.
Dude, I can't believe you take notes. You just gotta lock in and memorize all of it.
Yeah, well, it's also it's partly for me and partly for other people. Like, for example, like the question 23 in the Summa. People have a lot of questions about that, and so sometimes instead of just answering all that, I can just send them my notes on it, and it helps them out. Plus, it helps me remember it better because I'm not as smart as you are. But yeah, I like taking notes. I have a lot of notes.
Okay. Using Grok. Does anybody even really use Grok?
I don't think so. Unless it's like, hey, Grok, is this true?
Yeah, Grok sucks.
I might start doing that every single time Jay Dyer posts anything. I was like, yo, Grok, is this true? New
Goodness. I'm trying to find one that isn't Cole from the remainder of the super chats I have. Oh, here's a good one. John, your smile and laugh are cute. No homo. From Junior Cell.
What am I supposed to say about that, man? Now
you say thank you. You say thank you. When somebody compliments you, say thank you.
Now I feel uncomfortable smiling and laughing. I'm trying really hard not to right now.
Well, you just need to lock in. Okay, just pick up the next super chat. We got 4 minutes. Actually, 3 minutes.
That might be the gayest moment I've ever had on
Probably was.
That's pretty gay. First day of seminary tomorrow. Pray for me. Yeah, that's awesome. I will be praying for you. That's awesome.
Maybe you should be praying for us. You'll be in seminary. We have to be out here in the world.
Straight up, man. How can I explain the real presence in the Eucharist versus a symbolic or pneumatic presence, and how do you distinguish it from being a temporal reality? That's all you, man.
Symbolic or pneumatic presence, and how do you distinguish it from being temporal reality? I don't even know what this question is supposed to mean. The temporal reality part of it.
Maybe it's like how God isn't entering into time and space.
Distinguish it from being a temporal reality.
I'm doing my best here. It's the same way you understand the incarnation. I don't know, man.
Yeah, sorry. I don't have a good answer for you.
I mean, read St. Thomas on transubstantiation. Like, this is a really important thing. If you want to like explain the real presence, they're using very sophisticated terms, so like I can't tell like what level they're on in theology here. Like how can you explain the real presence in the Eucharist? Like I don't know. Like, do you need me to like go over like substance and accidents with you, or like is this like something just like too smart for me? I don't even understand the question. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. You're muted. Classic Wagner. Unk.
Yeah, you're funny. Symbolic. I mean, we believe in a symbolic presence of Christ in the Eucharist. We believe that the Eucharist is a symbol. Pneumatic. We believe in a spiritual presence of Christ in the Eucharist. We believe that this presence is spiritual. Temporal. We believe that the Eucharist is a temporal reality. Like, that's why the question is so difficult, or at least hard to understand, because none of these are like exclusive with what we actually mean by real presence.
Yeah. I mean, you wrote that one thing on the Eucharist recently, that one dude that tried to like disprove.
Oh, Matt Hedges.
Yeah. And then you like 12 hours later, you're like refuted all of it. Very easy. That was pretty funny. That made me laugh.
Look, sometimes, you know, if you, it's kind of the putting me on the thumbnail is kind of funny. Putting me on the thumbnail of the video, that was kind of funny. I do have to admit it. Credit where credit is due. You can't just expect me to just sit back and let you just say all of this nonsense, especially because he tried to quote a lot of the scholastics.
Yeah,
it was an affront. So I had to lock in and write the article.
I didn't see too much of it, but it seemed like the premise itself was pretty flawed.
Yes, it's okay to use AI as a tool. It is not okay to use AI as a tool. I mean, when is it not okay? If it's going to make you more retarded. That's my answer.
I mean, read Pope Leo's encyclical. He goes over all this pretty clearly.
True.
But I would say ultimately, like, if you want like a summary of what he said, just put it into Grok, man. Put it into ChatGPT and summarize the article for you. No.
So put it in Claude. Get Claude to summarize it for you. Maybe you can make some slides for you for a little slideshow. It's getting, all these AI things are getting good.
Yeah. No, just don't use it to replace human beings. Use it to aid human beings. Is like the main.
Dude, this is Gem comment. Thank you, Wagner, for convincing me to learn how to read. I'm starting with the Hungry Hungry Caterpillar, and by Christmas, I plan on working up to the City of God.
Super based.
Okay, well, I told you I'm sorry. People are... Is that Mrs. Wagner calling? No. She better not be.
What would you
Dude, I have a friend. I have an IRL friend. He's so funny. His wife will, like, try to call him, and he'll, like, block her phone number.
That's not good.
And then she'll try to email him. She'll like try to email him, and then he'll block her on the email. And then we're like, dude, that was crazy. Why are you blocking her on the email? Just ignore it. And then she updates the calendar so he gets the calendar notification. So he gets a notification on his phone. She's just a step ahead of him every single time. Like, I wouldn't even thought about updating the calendar to give a calendar notification to like message somebody.
You're getting fried.
It's like next level woman stuff. But anyways, I got to get going.
Same here.
Apologies to everybody that we were not able to answer all your chats. Appreciate all you guys. Thank you for having me on. And remember, read the article, subscribe, like, share the article, do everything like that. Stop being brain rotted. Read my Substack. Read other books. That's all.
More streams soon. We'll do it.
We will.
I'll go stir up some more controversy so we have more stuff to talk about.
Maybe I'll stir up some controversy this time.
Do it.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right.
I'm leaving, guys. Bye.